Wait, did you? Oh, never mind. Fuck.
Oh no.
No, it's fine.
Well,
Whatever. That's
we're
cool.
sure you just tell you can send it to me in
No,
text.
I was gonna ask if Envy's dress changed. I don't remember the diamonds on the bottom.
Oh no,
No,
there's
it's
been
always
there.
Oh, okay. Just
There's just
being dumb.
always
Never
she's
mind.
just always drawn like not with her legs.
she's
So
she's drawn like waist up usually, so you don't
yeah.
really
Uh,
see it.
Hello
no.
everybody.
But I
Hello.
believe there is a scene where you see the little diamonds
Yeah.
at least once.
Hello, hello. I'm
Hello.
dying.
Hello.
Hello. We're not technically gonna start taking questions yet because it just started and we want people to get here first. But you know.
Yeah, let's let this
Hello.
flood settle.
Welcome to this stream that we're trying out. Not sure how it's gonna work out, but we're gonna try.
Let's
Hello.
do it.
Just so everyone's aware, I'm Zodiac. These are my friends. Introduce
Hello.
yourselves.
Hello, I'm the Glucose Guardian.
Hello, I'm TwisterDisaster, and I'm also sick.
Yeah. apparently people thought she was dead because I streamed without her last night, but she's
Like
not.
random people were just DMing me on Twitter and being like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And I'm like, I said on Twitter I'm hanging out with my other friend. Like I wedding shit, bro.
But nope, you're dead.
I guess.
You just came back to life. That's why you're sick.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm trying to find that. I remember seeing the diamonds in the comic.
Yeah, they were there. Were they not?
I must be an idiot. I must be an idiot. I do not remember seeing them. That's why I'm
Oh, I
like,
see one. I found one.
Okay.
At
So then
page
I was-
44.
ugh.
I was looking for a full.
There's some on page 17. They're just
Yeah.
slightly covered. But it's fine.
I was just looking for it to see if.
No, it's fine. I was a herpa derp, so I just didn't remember.
We're
Oh
dedicated,
yeah,
okay?
you can. On 17, you can see him flying up because Wrath is an asshole.
That seems accurate.
I gotta actually open up the stream.
Yeah.
I was looking.
We're gonna have a good time and see how this ends up because either it's gonna be bullshit or it's gonna be great.
What are y'all talking about?
Stories.
What the title suggests.
Yeah, storytelling and
Yeah,
character
we get-
design, whatever.
We get questions all the time about like how to write good stories and characters and stuff.
Well, you two do.
Well,
I
you're
have not
here. You
written that.
count.
Yeah, you're here.
I
We
have
get the
not written
questions.
I've
You're-
not written a big story.
Just
But
give
yeah.
it time. It's fine.
Yeah, man. Come on. You're always there when these questions get asked. So, yeah, I basically was like, you know what? We should just make a stream about this.
Let's just get it all out of here.
Yeah,
I hate my mind.
oh no. What did you do?
Are you
I
sure
didn't do
Richie-
anything. I just realized something.
What
and
did you realize?
No, I can't say it. I
Damn
can't
it.
say it because it's a spoiler.
Shit.
I mean, yeah, it's a spoiler. I'll type it out.
Yeah, type
but,
it out,
I-
please. I need to know
I'm
now.
looking at the height. I'm looking at the height chart thing,
Oh,
and this
no.
doesn't have to do with Crackland. It has to do with Seven Sins of a Baby. But I was like, oh my god.
Can I say this thing?
Yes.
Someone said, "Are you sure Mitchie should be streaming? She sounds like she's dying."
I am dying, but I've been asleep like all day, so I'm awake anyway.
It's fine. She'll be fine.
We're still letting people come in a little bit. People are asking questions. Just give it.
Because I just noticed it. I'm like, oh my god, I knew he was short, but that's like really fucking short.
He's
So I'm
really
sitting here
short.
just like, oh.
He's really short. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my
Oh,
god.
don't remember me for that.
Oh my
what?
god.
And I wasn't even the one. I just said it out loud. Someone else said it.
Okay. So
I'm not
now
gonna
let's
be
start taking
remembered.
questions.
I'm not gonna be
Questions,
Questions,
concerns, like, comment, subscribe.
Subscribe. Just watch everything I have. We have DeviantArts for a reason. Why
and a
are there
twatter, and an
Ainsons?
insta-ham.
They're
And other things.
they're technically there's not 8 sins yet.
I mean,
There's
there's the sin of justice.
the sin of justice.
We're not taking those questions, Emily. We're taking story questions.
Yeah.
I guess it was a story, but yeah, we're taking like questions to help you guys with your stories and shit.
Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. Okay. How do you write detailed character looks? So,
Ooh,
okay. I have a good answer for this because I read a lot. So, a good thing to do is to be vague in the beginning and give small details throughout the book so people can like you won't realize how much of a visual representation of a character you actually read. Like, you could get a very vague description, but by the time the book's done, you don't even notice it was vague. You can completely see the full character. Because a big mistake I see a lot of people do when they're starting out is they just, like, bombard you with a wall of description for no reason.
Yeah.
It makes sense if you're, like, writing a scene where a character's, like, dressed up out of nowhere, like they're dressed up in an outfit they would never fucking wear. So that would make sense that the character themselves is looking at it and the narrator is describing like every detail in that moment. But you don't want to be like, this is my brother Jim. He's 5'9", brown hair, green eyes. This you don't want like because it screws the narrative, so it's not flowing naturally.
Yeah,
because
and usually
I've read. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, no, can finish.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, well, like, because what I was gonna say was, there's also a matter of sometimes with writing, you have to kind of understand that, like, because this is a thing I think people get caught up in, and they get really caught up in wanting to make sure people imagine their characters exactly how you imagine them. But honestly, if the appearance of your character isn't super important, and there's no like good flowing way good way to incorporate it that doesn't like ruin the flow of the story, then just don't mention it, as weird as that sounds. Sometimes just like being just not mentioning it is sometimes best. You don't have to mention it all the time, you know? Like,
oh, that's true. That's true.
Can I say something
Yes.
about that?
yes.
It also, description of characters works with when it's another character's perspective. Like, if it's a character that likes another character and they always think about how they look. I don't know. I don't know, I'm trying to get a point across.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you have one character that likes this other character, and they just always think about how they look, you can just be like, their brown eyes. They're really nice.
Yeah, and sometimes like to really like the best way to actually write them, like actually writing them in, is to try and make it sound kind of more, not less like, not as much as like really direct about it, but kind of almost make it sound like kind of just add it in there like with something else, like, you know, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like the I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, I don't know, if like a character's changing out, like picking an outfit or something, just like the dress looked beautiful with their emerald eyes, you know, like.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because a big problem you don't want to have, because I've had this happen, is you don't want to be over describing something to where the reader is forgetting what they're reading. Because I've had that happen where like this character's over describing something, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're having dinner. I totally forgot this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
it almost feels like you cut out from going to the story to reading the description of their bio page.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere, which this is why, like, usually, and sometimes the best thing is, like, because sometimes there is something I'll see where people will do it like that, and they'll actually incorporate it, but they'll give so much stuff on their appearance, it's like a page long, to where I'd say, like, pick and choose what's important and space it out as you go. If it's really important to get their appearance in there, then find a way to mention it. But again, if it doesn't need to be mentioned, then just, you don't need to mention it, you know? Sometimes leave it up to the imagination.
Yeah, exactly. Show, don't tell. And another good thing, too, is that a lot of people mistake is the creator themselves wants everyone, when you're writing a book, they want everyone to see the character the way you see the character, and that's just realistically not going to happen.
Yeah, that's like
Everyone's gonna be a little different when seeing your characters.
like I've yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead. No,
Well,
go ahead.
like I've seen books or whatever where it's like I'll read it and I'll have a very vivid image of the character in my mind, and then I'll like look at the next book on the cover and I'll see that character there and I'm like, whoa, that is not how I picture them.
Yeah, completely.
But that's not always a bad thing either.
It's not, and I think that's something people need to accept because because that's also something that takes the reader out of it too. Is like when there are pictures in it, you don't have to think as hard, and so it kind of takes you out of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're too busy imagining the actual character that you don't know what the fuck's going on in the story.
Yeah. And again, unless something's really important, you don't have to over-describe it. Like, what was it? Oh, I mean, a good example is, like, in Harry Potter, you know, they always like, oh yeah, you have your mother's bright green eyes.
There.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
all you need to say.
Yeah. Or they always would say, like, oh yeah, and, you know, your messy, untamed hair. I mean, heck, throughout half the book, I forgot he had black hair and he didn't have just brown hair.
Yes.
Because they always describe it as messy hair, which is fine because it doesn't take away from the story.
Mm-hmm.
It
So, yeah,
just
that's-
makes you think about it differently.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's our thing.
I saw one that was like, I saw a question that was, why do you write accents?
How do you write it? Well, that's a hard one.
Why do you write accents?
Honestly, what you
I find
should
it hard to
do-
write out.
Okay, well, here's the problem with accents, is you don't want it to come off as racist.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is, I have two good examples here. Was in Harry Potter, Hagrid does not talk like he talks in the movies, though he talks in the books. He talks very, very like haggard, ironically. And so a lot of his words like slurred and kind of weird, but you can read it, and it's not an insulting way because it makes sense for who he is. But then in Throne of Glass, I forget who it was, but there's this princess that comes by a nearby kingdom, and so there'll be many times where, because she does know Common, but she pretends she doesn't. So when she comes in, they like have these conversations where it's still translated into English because the main character and the princess queen person are talking, but they have other people around them, like, you know, questioning what they're saying because they don't know it, even though we, the reader, know what they're saying.
There's also The Color Purple, if you've ever read it.
I haven't read that one.
I've heard
How's
of that.
that
I
one?
haven't read it.
A lot of the words are slurred, like they're not typed correctly, but it's on purpose because those characters can't really talk straight.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
also it does depend on like how heavy the accent's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because like you know, like if a character obviously has a heavier accent, you're going to notice it more. But if it's something where it's like it's just that vague accent, but you can still understand them perfectly fine, then honestly, the best way to write it is just you'd have to, like someone actually said, like I thought you always just write so and so had a very thick Arabian accent. That's sometimes what you have to do because you don't need to write it in, you know, like unless it actually it's supposed to be noticeable and it's something the reader should notice and take note of, like, you know,
like a good example is I read this once and it always bothered me. It was like you have a character that like their second language is Common or English or whatever, so it's their second language and they don't know it as well as their main language, and they'll write out like perfectly formatted, grammatically correct sentences. When I'm sitting here like, that's not how that would be. When they're speaking in their native language, yeah, that would make more sense. But when they're working on trying to say something that they can't fully understand and translate themselves, it's going to come off as a little weird.
Yeah.
Also, when they say just a random like Spanish word and then go back to full English.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, exactly.
I've read that a lot too.
They'll just say like just some random Spanish word and then they're like, okay, I'm back to English. Let's talk for a full hour.
Yeah, so it really does kind of depend on the character and the accent you're going for, but yeah. So
how do you self-edit your story for simple grammar?
You really shouldn't.
You really shouldn't. You should get a second opinion.
Always.
That's why a lot of people hire an editor, because the editor will catch things that you don't.
Yep.
My editor is Quan.
My editor is my buddy who has a sociology degree and a minor in editing, so I'm like, yay! But I'm also paying her, so I'm not using her skills.
So yeah, honestly, and I feel like I'm making assumptions here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I do see a lot of people who feel this way, where they want to try and edit their stories and things like that on their own because they don't really want to show other people, or they don't really think they have anyone to show. But really, it just really is not a good idea, because it is always good to get as many opinions as possible with a lot of things, you know?
Yeah, so like in the industry, what they'll normally do is you'll have the first draft, and then you'll read through the first draft. You know, you'll fix things that you can catch. And then when you have the second draft done, that's when you submit it to an editor or a publication. They'll hire an editor, the editor will go through it, they'll send it back to you, and the editor might even tell you, like, cut this entire chapter out, or you don't need this, you don't need that, and some people are like, huh, no, it's important. The editor's like, okay, well, why is it important? And you have to tell the editor some important story elements if it is important. Like, if you're making a series like I am, there are certain scenes that might seem like filler but are very important that show up later on.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and I know that it can be kind of almost embarrassing to show somebody something and, like, you're worried about how they'll react, but really it is, to make a good story, it really is important to get second opinions. Especially, this is very important, especially from people who have no idea of anything about your story.
Yeah, that's the best, because you want to get people... Hold on.
Yeah. But yeah, because, like, I know I have this, because my animation teacher says this all the time. Usually, it's, because she says it all the time, is like, whenever we're doing animations and, like, working on animatics, it's like, this is good, now get some fresh eyes on it from people who have no idea what your story is. Because you might know what's going on. Your friend who you've told about your animation and where you're going and what you want to happen will know what's going on. But some random person who has no idea what you're doing has no idea what's happening. So if they can get the story, that means you did a good job showing it. If they look at it and think, like, why is that person buying eggs? But they're not buying eggs, they're trying to find a treasure chest, then you might have some problems. So
yeah,
that's why it's always good to, like, get people who get random strangers to look at it, you know?
Because that's a good example, because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll want to get from point A to point B, but they don't, like, they already know the line, but they don't know how to put the fluff in that makes it more natural from getting from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, especially in children's books, you can get away with it a lot easier, because I've been rereading the American Girl books right now. Because, well, I never read all of them as a kid, and I was like, you know, it's one of those things I always wanted to read. They're cheap as shit on Amazon if you buy the set. So I was like, oh, and I'm reading this, and there are so many moments where, like, oh, this is an important plot thing, and then the character is like, ooh, a cookie, and I'm like, right, it's a kid's book. Totally forgot. It's a kid's book. You know, and I know it's a bad example, but the show of a good writer is, like, when you want to write something, another thing too is you have to have the age demographic in mind when you are writing your book.
Yes, definitely.
That is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Because a good example is Stephen King. I think it was Firestarter. The main character is a little girl, but it's a Stephen King book, so it's not written for little girls to read this book. It's written for adults to read this book, but relate to this little girl.
Yeah.
You know, compared to like a Goosebumps book.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I can't think of anything to add to that.
Eggs, treasure chest confirmed.
It was the first thing that could come up on my mind, so there we go. I mean, you'd be surprised, though, like, watching bad animations. God.
I think another good thing people need to understand is that, realistically, there are only 7 types of stories in the world.
Yes.
It's the characters that make it different, so you should really focus on the characters over the story.
Mm-hmm.
By that, I mean, like, you need to have your characters be realistic.
Yeah, because you know what? In a way, sometimes it's like the characters that make the stories the most memorable. Because you could say like, you could describe a plot of a story, and someone could think you're talking about something totally different than what you are. Because that's just how plots work a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, like here, I'll use mine as a perfect example. So the basic plot of Marked is a war is going on that is causing the genocide of a people, and it takes place on the point of view of one of the people that is being persecuted against.
So Star Wars?
So Star Wars, so World War II.
So Star Wars?
So Star Wars?
You know, so Star
so
Wars,
Lord of the
so
Rings?
World War II, so Lord of the Rings. Like, the basic bare bones bitch plot has been done 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the character living through that moment in this world that makes it unique.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which is
like, go ahead, try it for one of yours. Try describing bare bones basic bitch in one of your stories.
I was about to do Luniverse, but I'm like, fuck. Cause I don't know, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Blood Diamond Court.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Blood Diamond Court is 2 Diamond Sisters are in a war now, and everyone's just kind of watching.
Yeah. I mean, 90% of my stories are like, a bunch of unlikely friends team up to fight evil. So that's like...
A bunch of assholes adopt a baby. Wacky shenanigans.
Not willingly.
Yeah, not willingly, but because they aren't
something.
evil enough to let a baby die.
They're evil enough to steal from a lot of people.
I mean, again, okay, remember, it's like, I can't say they're evil because they're not. I can't lie.
Shit. They're assholes. They're not evil.
There's one that I've had highlighted here. What is the best way to make a main cast of characters? How many characters would be too many?
I mean, you're asking someone who has 10. Who has one story that has 10 main characters.
You're asking someone who has 10 main characters over here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess some of them are as less main character than some others, but I will say, okay, because I have a lot of
your plot needs.
I do have a lot of experience with, writing large casts of characters, because that's what I do, because I very much enjoy that. It does very much depend on what your plot needs, first of all. Like, I know I have one story that isn't posted about, but it's called 36, which is, there are a lot of characters, there are like 40 characters that have like technically important roles in the story. Some less than others, and some are only there for a few minutes, but their role is still important. But there is only ever one main character, even though he has a bunch of these other characters that he travels with, and one of the other characters is also very, very important. He is the only main character, and the reason why is because if I told it from anyone else's perspective, it almost ruins the kind of goal I'm trying to achieve with it. Meanwhile, I have other stories that are very in-depth and very like world building and stuff like that, to where having more main characters helps kind of build the story and push it along and help show the different perspectives and roles they have and all that kind of thing. So it's more useful and it's easier to do that with more characters. So it does depend on what you're going for. When it comes to making their personalities, always try, and something I like to do, there's a little system I kind of like to go on, especially when it comes to when you introduce them, is that you want to try and fill in gaps of what a story needs, because it's very easy to come up with a bunch of characters that are very similar in nature, but how many of those can you get before it starts causing problems that can't be fixed? You know, like
because a big problem a lot of people do is when they when they try having a big cast of characters, a lot of the time, if not done properly, characters will blend into each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot easier than a lot of people think. It's a lot easier to have happen than a lot of people think.
Yeah, and also, realistically, when you're going to have a lot of characters interacting with each other, they are going to butt heads over something. They have to butt heads, because there is, like, it's very, very rare that you get large groups of people that don't have drastically different lives and viewpoints. So, like,
yeah,
they're going to have conflict. And a lot of the time, too, you have to kind of think about what you need at the time. Like with Luniverse, there's a lot that had to do with their personalities, where I had to think of, like, okay, what kind of character do we need for this? Like, and, like, when should this character be introduced that would help the story? Because, like, of course, like, Luna, for example, she's the very pessimistic, like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be a part of this shit. Like, this is nonsense. So, like, if I were to take Luna and make the next character she interacts with be, like, what's a good one? Be, like Sphinx, or not Sphinx, actually. Sphinx probably could. But, like, with Chrome and Virus, she would immediately probably get out of that situation. They would never interact ever again. Because Chrome doesn't want to be there, Luna doesn't want to be there, Virus is a pushover, so they'd probably leave. So that's why the next character she meets is Jackson, because Jackson's going to find a way to stick to her and not leave. And with Jackson there, now he's going to want to bring Infinity in and say, I like this person, she can't leave either. So now she's there, and so forth and so on.
Oh wait, Infinity's a chick? I thought Infinity was a dude.
She's... Okay, that's beautiful.
I'm sorry, I'm just like, wait, hold on, Infinity's a chick?
Infinity is a girl, technically.
I'm thinking of the same person, right? I'm thinking of, like...
Are we... Who are you thinking of?
It's like the short... Not the short, it's like short pastel blonde hair.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's a chick!
The one that covers her eyes?
Yeah!
Yeah,
that's a dude!
It's
okay.
been a chick forever.
Here's what's funny about that.
Universe is the one thing of Zodiacs I know nothing about besides the furry enthusiast guy.
Yeah, no, okay. She's all right. What's funny about her? She's genderless. She doesn't have anything. So
so I wasn't wrong.
You weren't wrong. She just goes by she/her pronouns because her species just pick pronouns and roll with it. So like.
You just assumed her gender.
Oh god, that's beautiful. But yeah, so that's like so, and I also, because this is another thing too, because I have another story that goes with this too. Sometimes a really important thing to think about is you cannot have, realistically speaking, I'm sure you could make it work, but it is going to be very, very hard to have a ton of characters that cause problems, that are naturally like, oh god, I had terms for this before. It was like, there's passive and active, and there's, what was it? Because I know I had a thing, and it was like a story concept thing, but I didn't write it down. It was like, you can't have a bunch of, because you have like the not the problem solvers, but like the menders, and like the ones who cause chaos. If all of your characters in a group cause chaos, nothing's going to get done, you know? Yeah. That's why you have to sometimes, you have to have Sorry. You have to have the peacemakers. They're very important. But yeah, what are you saying?
You can't just have 10,000 heroes because...
Yes, exactly.
There's not going to be anything to fight.
Yes,
like, see, that's, yeah.
Because there's not going to be much to do with the...
Like, that's why, okay, low-key, I'm very scared for Infinity War. Like,
yeah.
They've already announced they're supposed to be, like... They're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be 48 people in here, and I'm like, ugh.
How many are gonna fight for the spotlight?
You're gonna be making an Overwatch kind of deal.
Especially when, like, Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and who's the other guy? Thor. One of the other sassy assholes are gonna be, like, in a scene together, and I'm sitting here like, What's gonna happen?
It could either be really great or really terrible.
Oh, also, I wanted to answer this, but you were talking. Yeah. So no, it was a good question because this has to do with like my story, so I know how to answer it.
Nice.
And it was, how do you get two plot lines of two different stories to blend into each other? So now, how you do this? Okay, this isn't a spoiler for my story, but there's two plot lines in the first marked book. There's two plot lines in every book. But they're by drastically different characters and technically in different timelines, but the same world. And what makes them flow together is the parallels of how it's treating both the main characters. So by that, they're both in a way put in a similar situation, even though it's different time points in history and they're drastically different characters. But that's how they flow together, is you see the parallels, what one person is going through compared to the other person, and how their histories and their personalities and their own personal demons affect the narrative. And then in the end, they both, in a way, have a similar outcome.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh wait, Luniverse, Infinity War. Sorry, it was a comment. But yeah. That's my best way to do it. Is you want to have, if you have two plot lines that are going on at the same time with drastically different people, they have to blend into each other, or else if you don't make it a parallel or blend in, then you might as well just have two books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
unless they also correlate at the end, like. These characters never meet up at all, but I know I've read some where like there's characters doing something, you know, and then they end up like meeting up at the same place or something.
I know.
Like
Game of Thrones is a shit. Yeah. I know a really good example of this. There's a game. Hang on, I gotta hang on. I have my iPad right here. I'm gonna pull up what it is. There is a game I played and I loved it so much. The ending could have been better, but I love the general story. It's called where'd it go? Broken Age. So, what's really, really cool about Broken Age is technically throughout the entire story, or throughout the entire game, you play two different characters, and you can alternate between which character you're playing, because sometimes you might get like stuck on a puzzle, so you play as the other one, and you do like both their stories, and they are both like entirely different stories. Like this one chick lives in this really bizarre, surreal fantasy world where like her story starts with she and a bunch of other maidens are going to be like sacrificed to this like god monster thing, which if anyone's played it, you know what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, the other story is about this kid who lives on a spaceship traveling through space. So like entirely different stories. And like her story is about her getting her freedom and trying to figure out, like, I'm gonna destroy this monster, you know, I'm gonna save other maidens and all this shit, while it's also technically trying to get home. While the guy's adventure is technically where he's like just going on the spaceship, and he's really irritated because the reason they're on a spaceship is they're trying to find a home world and stuff like that with his parents. And his, I believe, starts off with he just kind of wants to, like, he learns some secrets and he meets this weird wolf dude who, like, trying to help him. And he's like, and he wants to save people. So it's like the wolf guy's helping him save people and be a hero. And then there is a part where, like, now they're completely different stories. Like, one's like fantasy, sci-fi, no technology, and the other's like sci-fi. So it's like, why are these in the same game? And if anyone knows, there's a huge plot twist where both the main characters walk out and they look directly at each other, and you're like, shit! And it's like, because of what happens right before that. But like, it's so, like, if anyone's I recommend that game, like, so much. It costs money, but like, it's so good. And it's so pretty and it's so funny. But yeah, I don't want to spoil it because it's a really, really good plot twist. But yeah, so that's a really good example of two stories coming together. So yeah, there we go. I just thought it. I was like, yes! It's all right. Okay. All right, so let's see. Looking for another question. Oh, thank you, Sam. I forgot to put it in the Discord. Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
I want to post my long story online, but I'm afraid of those internet thief people. Well, okay, well...
You're never gonna be safe from that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But my only thing I can tell you is that if you ever want to put anything out there, you just kind of have to acknowledge that that's going to happen. You really, really can't avoid it. The only thing you can do is try and handle it maturely. And honestly, in a lot of cases, not all of them, but in a lot of cases, it is so easy to deal with those people. Like, it's really easy, especially if, like, it's obvious if your stuff was there first, you know? So all I can say about that is that I'm sorry, but if you're going to post anything online, it's going to happen.
You're never going to escape people trying to steal your
So
stuff.
your only solution is you post it knowing what the risk is and being ready for it, or... Oh no, Broken Age is an iPad game, actually.
Oh.
It's on the App Store and shit.
I thought
yeah.
Broken Age was on Steam.
I mean, it might be. I don't know. One of the two. It could be both. But, like, yeah. So, honestly...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you either have to accept that that there's people out there who might do that, or you're just not going to have to post online. That's all I can tell you, honestly. So, sorry if that's not really the answer you want to hear.
I saw it on Steam first.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I love that game so much. The ending could have been better because the ending was kind of anticlimactic, but like, and it left some things unanswered, but like, it was a really good fucking game.
There have been a lot of questions of how do I start off a story good? Well,
there are a few ways to do that because again, like with most things,
depends on the story.
Yeah, it depends on the stories. There's definitely things you can look at. I know that some things I can think of off the top of my head is jump right into the action if you can, if that's a story that allows that.
Yeah,
like
if
jump
it's like a
right
war,
into the
If it's like a war, jump right in, just go.
Mm-hmm. Like I know I have one that I'm going back. This is 36 again. But like the way that story starts off is the main character trying to sneak out of the place where he lives. And it's very intense, very high stakes feely, and like very like suspenseful and stuff. And then he gets caught, so it's kind of like right in there with like, where are you? What's happening? You know, that kind of thing. But then there's also stories where you have to start out just a little bit slower. So it really does depend on what kind of story you're trying to write. So I will say, usually the whole jump right in kind of thing is generally the best way to go. Generally. So, you know.
Is it okay to write the middle and the end, then finish my story with the beginning?
Oh, hell yeah, it is. Like,
you can do whatever you want.
Definitely. There's not one way to write a book. And the only thing I would say with that is you have to make sure that by the end of it that everything flows together right, you know, if you're going to jump around. But you definitely can. In fact, some people, when they write stories, they write out important scenes and shit, and then go back and fill everything else in. You know?
She died, by the way.
Well, yeah, I know. I saw that. It's fine.
How would you convincingly convince a stubborn character to do something they might not like?
That's up to you, because I don't know what your character's like.
It depends.
Every stubborn character is different. There's certain things that are going to make them break, certain things that, you know, and some people just don't.
If it's a stubborn character who wants to obtain something, you can offer that something.
Yeah.
If they're a straight up, just stubborn character, you can say, if you do this, I will leave you alone forever. Yeah,
and also, sometimes it also depends on what character is trying to convince them to do something. Because, like, what I've usually found with trying to deal with stubborn characters is, like, emotional characters are usually going to try and appeal to them and try and convince them emotionally, like, it's whatever and it's the right thing to do. While, like, a more manipulative character or charming character will almost try to make them weave around their rules. Like, oh, you don't want to do this because of X thing? Well, what if I told you it would actually benefit X thing you're trying to protect?
Yeah.
Like, so it does really depend on a lot of things. So.
How should I prepare for doing NaNoWriMo for the first time?
How I prepared doing it is you think about the story you want to write, you try and think of where you kind of want it to go, but you just don't try to
You
keep your
wing
hands
it.
off of it as much as possible.
You have a plot, but you wing it.
Yeah, also, this might be me, because this is how I did it. I tried my best to develop as little of my story as possible, so when I was writing it, a lot of things kind of just came to me naturally, so I could at least just type it down. Because if you're too caught up in getting from one place to another, then, like, and you're too caught up with it making sense, you're not going to write, and that's the thing. With NaNoWriMo, the entire goal, write a story. Don't make it good, write a story. Yes. Don't write a good story, write a story.
It doesn't have to be 100% best story. You just gotta get the words out there and try to get there.
Exactly.
You think of the beginning, you think of the end, and then as you go along, make up the middle.
Exactly. That's how I did mine. And it ended up with a lot of really, really funny a lot of really funny shit. And dramatic shit, but really funny shit.
How do you manage more than 7 to 8 stories? I feel like I pay more attention to one story than others.
Oh, I'm a great person to ask this question.
You
Okay.
have like 10,000.
I have way too many. In fact, actually, last night after I listed out all my stories, I remembered some I forgot. Okay. So here's the whole cold hard truth with having a lot of stories. Sometimes, if you're just not in a mood to write a story, you're not in the mood to write that story. If you are paying attention more to one story, focus on that story. Don't let that opportunity go to waste. If you want to give every story equal attention, and you can't, then that's not going to happen. I have plenty of stories that are very I've just given up on them, but I keep them in my back pocket because I'm like, someday I might get into this again and it'll be great. But you should also not be afraid to have as many stories, but don't be so worried on giving them all such equal love, because it's probably not going to happen.
If you have a story that's currently not going anywhere, just put it on the back burner.
Exactly. I have had stories that everyone knows I swing in and out of moods. I have stories where it's I'll just get a burst of motivation and I'll develop the hell out of it, and then other stories just don't work out, and that's just kind of how it is. So don't be so worried about giving each story equal amounts of love and equal amounts of attention, because sometimes it just doesn't happen. Focus on the stories that you're currently passionate about, and just don't forget about your other stories. Keep them in mind if you think they're good stories, because you can go back to them at any time. But don't be so worried about managing all of them at the same time, because it's probably not going to happen anyway. You know?
Me looking sadly at Homestuck story.
I cry.
I cry.
Cry.
But I have something to tell you about that, but later.
Later, okay. Alright, so let's see.
We don't really have many questions right now.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Oh, Mercury has one.
Ooh.
How do you get your motivation and choose ideas to put in a story?
A lot of mine come from different places. Some of it's just on whims. A lot of them is music. Shit. A lot of my stories get motivated by music. I'll have characters that don't have backstories. I'll listen to a good song and I'm like, that's their backstory now. That happens way too much.
Whoops.
Whoops. That's the definition.
Stories or songs are really good ways to make stories.
Mm-hmm. That's how my NaNoWriMo story got inspired. I listened to a song for a siren, and then it just kind of came to me, and there it was.
How do you write a demon character into normal society?
Well, I will sell you this right now. That is a concept okay. That is a concept a lot of people have done. A lot.
It's done a lot.
Especially with specifically Satan.
Yeah,
so
Satan.
I would look around, because
Satan is a part-timer.
Yes, Satan is a part-timer. I know there was one called Lucifer that was on TV once. There was one called
Black Butler isn't technically Satan, but it's
that's one. I can't remember the name of it. What is it? Beelzebubs or something like that. It's about a guy who has to raise Satan.
Death Note isn't really like a demon being in real life, but it's there and
so there's
someone else.
There's a lot of ways and a lot of different interpretations, but that's definitely something a lot of people have done. So you're not short when it comes to ideas on how to do that.
How do you write scripts for plays?
I have not done that yet. Hi, Michi.
I know the format, kind
of.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi.
So, my internet went out.
Oh, no.
So I'm on mobile, that's all, so hopefully I don't sound as bad.
It's fine.
But I felt bad because I was listening to the part when it was the bathroom, and I was like, shit, I had something I wanted to say on this topic, I hope they're not done, and then,
well, here, if you want to say something, so you can throw it in real quick.
Ah, fuck, well, I kind of forgot, because I came back and I'm like, shit, my internet's not working great, and I'm like, no. What was it? I think what it was
managing
like
stories?
how to what?
Managing stories?
Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah.
Now, see, it's kind of like if you want to be an artist as your career. This is going to sound very mean and very harsh, but it's how it has to be. If you want this to be your job, you have to treat it like a job. If you want to do it for fun, then the stress isn't as bad. By that, like, I know a lot of artists who are really, really great. Zodiac's a perfect example of this.
Aww.
But artwork isn't his job.
Yeah.
You just do it for fun, and you do commissions sometimes, but it's not your job. You don't need a job right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then it's okay, Sam. Hug. But like, see, my problem is there are a lot of people, like, okay, I'll use George R. R. Martin for an example. Everyone's like, oh shit, it's taken him forever, and he still hasn't gotten the next book out or whatever. It's been like 9 years or some shit. And it's like, yeah, that's really, really bad, but at the same time, he has so much fucking money that it's not right, but he doesn't have to worry about making his next book.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he'll worry about making his next book when he's almost out of money.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what a lot of people tend to do is if they get to a certain point of fame, they'll be like, well, I don't have to write anymore unless I want to, which is good because I think you always should want to because you can totally tell when an author wrote a book for a paycheck compared to like they actually want to tell this story.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But if you want it to be a career, you have to treat it seriously like a career. It's kind of like the art block debate and why a lot of like professional industry artists are like art block's not real, and it's like, well, it is because you can be completely unmotivated and not want to do it, but you have to do it because it's your job. Because if you don't do it, then you're not going to get paid and you're not going to be able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I have
art
blocked 90% of the time.
Yeah. But that's just it. That's why I tell people, I'm like, if you are feeling burnt out or art block and it's stressing you out and it's not your job, then just chill from it for a while.
Ooh, yeah. Someone asked, what kind of writing styles are your favorite?
Are we still there? Hello?
Hello?
Sorry, I was seeing if I could see the chat on my phone. I still have Discord, so I'm happy to know I can.
Okay.
What kind? See the...
Yeah. Go ahead. Someone asked, what kind of writing styles are your favorite? I know the way I like to write is I like to kind of make fun of things as I do it. I like first person and third person. Yeah. So like it depends on, I think what's really good though is when you're reading a first person book, and it's really hard to find this, but when you read a first person book where the narrator is an unreliable narrator. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry if I sound like a toaster. I have to use my Bluetooth headset because my computer just decided to restart, update, and just not connect to the internet. So I'm like, joy.
Yeah. But yeah, I love different like takes on perspective. I know I have one. I'm gonna say this because I'm sure by the time I actually ever finish this fucking book, it'll be different. People will forget about it. But like I have a book that I'm trying to write because I have a good idea for it, nonsense, where it's like it's all written first person, but anything relating to the main character is very vague. Like, no one ever mentions your gender. No one ever or not your, but like the main character's gender, or like
the narrator's gender, the narrator.
Yeah, the narrator's gender, their personality, or anything like that, or not their personality, their looks and shit. So like at the end of the book, because in the story, reincarnation's an important thing. So like at the end of the story ends. Well, it's like, okay, the story ends with like a note from the narrator, like suddenly breaking the fourth wall and saying, or like how I always kind of imagined it was something along the lines of, but I thought it would be important that my next life remember the stuff that has happened. So that's why I wrote this for you. And it just ends. And it's like, oh shit, I'm the reincarnation of the narrator. Woo, spooky.
Ooh.
Which obviously it isn't true, because I mean, it'd be a book, so it's like, you know, a bunch of people could have it. But I thought it'd be a really cool ending to a story, so I was like, yeah. But like, I don't know. There's a lot of different writing styles. It just depends on what it is.
How would you introduce two characters who've already met each other, but aren't best friends or rivals?
So
Wait, so they're just
other, but they don't really care about each other.
Yeah, so they're like acquaintances?
Yeah.
Because I was about to say that I have two characters who actually do that in Seven Sins and a Baby, actually.
Wait,
but like
who?
they're siblings.
Oh, right.
No, it's really funny, okay? Here, I'm gonna type it out for you because it's funny.
Connect to the internet.
Oh no.
My computer's not updating. It just does not want to connect to the internet at all.
God. Okay, here. I'm gonna type that out for you. But yeah, so like I need some elaboration. Are you talking about like that they have a different relationship, or that they're just like acquaintances and they know each other? Because then that's kind of easy if it's the latter. But I don't know. So yeah.
Okay, bitch. No, not you. My computer just does not want to connect to the internet, so I'm just gonna shut it down.
I know,
Let it chill for a bit.
Now all of the story questions are dead.
Oh, I've got to type this out, so I'm not paying attention to the chat right now.
The person who asked the character question said they've only met once.
They've only what?
They've met only once. Well, then just write them like they've met before.
Like,
so they're acquaintances.
Say,
yeah.
I've seen them before, and I know their name, but I've never really paid attention to them. So once they get put into this, whatever you're putting them into, they're just like, oh, I know that person, kinda.
Like, I think that's another thing too, is like when you have character relationships, a lot of what the hell?
Yeah.
Envy, game message, heart. What the fuck was that? I didn't have that running.
What?
No, my computer's like, Nev game something is preventing your computer from shutting down. I'm like, it just restarted. The fuck is this program? And before I could press close out, it was like, okay, shutting down. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh my god. Your computer is having a moment.
I guess. Anyway, what I was trying to say was, when writing character interactions, there are certain things you want to do and you want to do and not do. Something I hate is when you have a family member, and unless they're doing it like, ironically, because technically I have two characters that kind of do this, you know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But like, if you're reading a book and a person's like, well, hello, brother. Hello, sister. Now, unless they're doing it like ironically, like two of my characters do it, it's really weird because it's like in movies when you hear forced dialogue for no reason. Like a good example, and this sounds really fucking bad, is in Geostorm. This is the first one that I can think at the top of my head. So I saw it with Anna. Was the scientist guy is like talking with this other guy. They look and act nothing alike at all. And he says something like, oh, what? So the government's giving my job to my baby brother, and then like it skips a little bit, but no, it gets worse. It like skips a little bit. It does like a mini time skip. It's at the
Oh
beginning
no.
of the fucking movie, and the little brother guy shows up to like this trailer, and this girl comes out. It's like, hey, uncle. Oh, just so you know, dad and mom got divorced, and I haven't seen you in 5 years, and I'm sitting here. It's like, and dad is really mad that his own brother doesn't hang out with him, and I'm like, oh my god, I get it. They're related. Stop. It has been 5 minutes of this movie.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah. Like, because you could have characters that are siblings who look drastically different. I also have this. Who are very good foils for each other. But the good thing is, it can be a twist if done properly, but for a good twist and a good relationship, you need to have all of the chess pieces in a row. They have to all be set and ready to go. So when someone goes back and reads it, they're like, oh shit, it was there. It was there the whole time. I just didn't see it because you didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
The alien software is coming for your soul. Well, shit, I guess I'm dead.
Mr. Grey T said, is it difficult to write combat situation? Like
It
fighting, that sort of thing.
It can be if you don't do research.
Yeah.
Because I said that before, when you're doing a lot of combat things, you want to use a lot of synonyms. And
I like some synonyms.
I do too. And descriptive factors to help paint more of a vivid picture than like I said this once before, where it was on one of my live streams where it's like, instead of writing and then he stabbed him, you would say something like, and then my sword went in. Oh shit, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like,
I think before you said like,
no, it's a terrible example. I'm trying to think of a good one. It's like,
I like how you just ended that with like the sword went in. Fuck.
Oh,
I know. That's a terrible example. It's not what I meant. Fuck, my sick brain's getting to me. But like, oh fuck, what's a good example?
I know the example you used before was like, and the knife slipped in like butter or whatever.
Yeah, so that's a good example. Or you'll be something like, like once I thrust, I felt it hit something, and that is when I realized bone hit flesh or bone hit metal or something like that. You know what I mean? I guess that's also a pretty bad example. I'd rewrite that better.
Like how bone hit flesh.
I know, bone hit flesh.
Bone
I know,
hit
Jesus.
Like,
This is why I can't write when I'm sick. I don't have nothing to write minds. But another thing you want to be
Flesh
careful
would just
for.
be like a slapping sound.
Oh God. I mean, another good one is like, you also don't want to have a character's personality drastically change for just this moment for no reason.
yeah.
Like it would make sense if there was a reason. So like, I have this character that's a very fun and goofy and random and very chaotic, very happy character, but there's a certain thing that happened in his past that if he was to find out what caused it to happen, his personality is going to drastically change, and he is going to become very, very, very fucking angry. But it makes sense for his character for that instance to be brought up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm fucking talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Inigo Montoya in The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
He can goof around and stuff, but when he meets the killer of his father, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
You killed my father, let's go.
Yeah.
That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
His whole thing is to find the six-handed man and kill him.
Six-fingered, not six-handed.
Six-fingered.
Very important difference.
Very important.
Hey, Zodiac.
Let's have a lightsaber battle. Like,
can you control 10 sock puppets? I don't think so.
No, it's like the lightsaber battle one in the prequel.
Can your parents do that? I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
No, I love
it's okay. No.
It was an inside joke.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But no, what was I gonna say?
I can't believe I still remember that. God.
That was one of the best ones. That's why I remembered that one.
I know. God. Okay,
I remember that one, and now I also realized how racist it was putting a certain character in a hula skirt, and so I'm like, shit. Anyway, it's not why we're here.
Anyway.
what I was trying to say was
no.
another thing too is and when a character has a moment like that, it has to affect them in some way afterwards. A good example, I feel bad I keep using fucking Harry Potter, but it's like fresh in my mind, is like after the Goblet of Fire stuff happened where Harry literally watched a kid die in front of him because of him. In the next book, he is constantly thinking about it. He's having nightmares about it. His like he tries to still be happy, fun Harry, but he's like constantly in turmoil about it. And I think that's the problem when I read things that happen to certain characters where
Yeah, it just kind of blows it off.
and they use the excuse like, oh well, they're putting on a front, and like, yeah, that could be done, but when people put on a front, it's a fake. Like most people can tell when it's fake.
You know,
You
like
know
when
what I
they
mean?
when they
Yeah.
accidentally knock a vase over. Anyway.
But no, that's what I was saying. It's
Yeah.
like, so it would be like, okay, a good example is have you guys seen A Silent Voice? The
No.
movie, it's an anime movie.
No.
Oh, I've heard of. I know the plot. I know
It's
most
really
of it.
it's really good, but also really fucking depressing. It's very real, okay? Like this is a movie I have to be careful to
Very
suggest to
real.
people. It's a very real movie, so
It's
Be-
really good though.
oh no, it's probably one of my best movies I've ever seen. Like I want to buy this on DVD. It's fucking amazing. But there's a certain scene in it where a character like a lot of shit happens and a character acts like overly happy and tries to like not talk about it, and it seems so forced and fake to the point where like everyone's like there's a scene or something where they're all like laughing and he's the only one that's like still laughing, like he's forcing himself to laugh, and they're like, okay, it's not that funny, but he's like, oh well, I'm just having such a great time. It's like you can totally tell this person is not having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to make it seem like it. So
Yeah, I love that movie. I cried more than once. Yo, same. Rip Cedric. Yeah, but that's it.
there's
But
this. Okay, you keep going. Sorry.
oh no, but that's just what I was saying. Because what I'll see is like I talked about this before. I don't know if I talked about it in your live stream or like one of my own.
Yeah.
But I've been reading a lot of stories lately that's been pissing me off, and I've had to stop reading them because they'll have convenient PTSD
Yeah.
or a convenient mental disorder that just kind of goes away when it needs to. And I'm
Yeah,
sitting there
I
like,
hate that so much.
I'm like that's not how it works.
See, that's
Like, a lot
something.
of people yeah.
Just randomly, just a note to people. If anyone ever wants to know a good tip for writing mental disorders, don't have the mental disorder only come up when it's convenient.
And have it literally be like,
A plot device.
yeah.
Guess what? People with
What?
PTSD are probably always thinking about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
They just sometimes it's more violent than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you have someone in a war setting and they come home and they have PTSD, any loud sound is going to trigger something, but they're
I mean-
always thinking about it.
Yeah. Like technically, and this hasn't come up in Crackland yet, but I have a character with very severe PTSD that like knows how to handle it, but even he still has episodes. And it's pretty bad. But it's like it's not a convenient thing that just happens because it's like, well, I can't think of anything to write for this chapter, so we're gonna have a war flashback. It's like, no, there needs to be a reason for it. Or I had people asking me like, oh, well, I'm so happy that because I put Tim Bolt's bio out there,
Yeah.
you know, and
I saw.
he
I
has
think I know.
ADHD.
Yeah, I think I saw that comment.
He has ADHD, and I had someone be like, "Oh well, it's only like it's he can control it, right?" I'm like, "Oh no, he is a complete
No.
spaz. Like that's because I have ADHD.
I
So
have ADHD.
That's why it's so hard for him to focus and for him to do things unless it's something he really, really, really likes.
Guess what
And
I'm
even then,
doing
it's still
right
hard
now?
for him. Yeah,
I'm playing with thinking putty to focus on what the fuck I'm supposed to be focusing on.
but that's just it. It's not something that just goes away, and it's not a convenient thing. Like throughout the story, when I write him, it's always there, and you can see it. Like there are so many points where like his friends are trying to get him to study and to focus, and he's just like playing around with paper, looking around a place, like he's bored, and he's like, "Well, I can't."
People with ADHD cannot focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah, and like that's the thing with his friends too. Is like at the start they don't get it, but they eventually get it, and so they kind of help him. They help. How do I word this right? They help him learn his magic together. That's also why they're all really close, is they all sort of like, well, okay, why don't we try doing this together instead of just the two of us reading it, since you can't really read.
Yeah.
A lot of ADHD afflicted people cannot just read it.
Yeah, I know.
The attention span is long.
Yeah.
I know. The only reason I can read so much is because, like, I have to have shit in the background. It's weird. When I read, I have to have, like, a show I've already watched in the background. I can't listen to music. I can't talk to somebody. Because that's the only way I can, like, get into the book. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How would
I feel you.
You know my pain?
I have it too.
So yeah, you know my pain.
I know the pain.
Let's see, hold on.
Being in school during a test and it's very quiet and you're just like, I need to look around.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Or the worst is when you hear a light go out, like one of those like lights flicker in a classroom, and you're just like, shit, now all I can do is look at it. Yes!
The buzzing noise, and you just focus on it.
Yes! You can't focus on the test. Yeah.
You can't focus on anything else. I had to be put in a special classroom one year.
See, I didn't have that, but I had to go like when my teachers finally realized I couldn't take tests. They would like, okay, go to the library with this pass, and so I would go to a real safe space before the safe space bullshit popped out. And literally all it was like, here's a library and a teacher, and we're gonna take the test away from people.
My school wanted me to immediately go on meds, and my mom was like, no.
So was mine! Except I didn't find out until I was older. How would you rate a character who is this son of a tyrant and not anything like his father, but doesn't feel the need to escape his father? Zuko.
Yeah, Zuko. I've had this one highlighted for a little while.
Which one?
Oh, go ahead.
It's, how do you write a character's interaction between the main character and a character that knows stuff about the main character that the main character doesn't know about themselves? Hold on. Without it being awkward. There's a character that knows stuff about the main character, but the main character doesn't know about themselves. Would you usually write that without being awkward?
Usually you just have to. I mean, it's weird because all I can say is like write it, because that's just usually.
It depends. It depends on the character.
Yeah. See, again, it depends on like what characters they are and what their personalities are and their relationship and stuff like that. You know.
If the person knows about it and their personality is more like, I'm smug, I'm gonna keep it away from you until you learn it yourself, you can just have them hint at it, but not actually say it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a character in Silent Hill 4 or 3. There's a character in Silent Hill 3 who knows stuff that your character doesn't, and they just snark it up and say, oh, you think that's right? Huh. And then they don't tell you what's wrong about what you think is right.
Mm-hmm.
You just walk away and they just wait for you to figure it out.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, if the person who knows more than the main character does, and they're a bit more kind of like, I don't want them to know.
Am I back?
Then they're just, oh, hi.
It could be.
Sorry, Cody called me on the phone and it automatically kicked me from the call. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about how do you write a character that knows more than the main character without it being awkward.
Oh, okay.
Well, but on the flip side, if the character doesn't want the main character to know said things, then they're probably just going to interact with them like they don't know anything about them.
If it's a character who wants to protect the main character...
Yeah, they might give them advice. Very, weird, random advice.
Not repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
So, again, it really depends on what you're trying to write.
It depends on how your characters are emotionally and all of that.
Well,
oh boy.
It's so funny. No, I find when we got this question because, well, Zodiac knows this. I can tell you, Sam, later if you want. But Tybalt and his friends, Adrian and Alador, they know something really, really important about Tybalt that he doesn't know about himself.
Oh boy.
And they really, really care about him, and so it's like when they realize he doesn't know about it, they're like, they both kind of had this like pact, like we can never tell him this because it would destroy him. Because it's a pretty bad thing, but it's not really his fault. Finger quote technically.
Technically, it's not his fault, but he was involved, and he probably wouldn't like it if he knew what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's one of those things that it eventually comes up and blows up in like everybody's face at one point, because it eventually does come out, and pretty much the reaction's worse than if they just told him early on, because now it's like, oh shit, the people I cared about most lied to me for like half of my life. And for him, since he's a truth boy, it hurts him, and it makes me cry.
The poor boy.
He a good, happy, lit boy, okay?
He a good, happy, lit boy.
He just can't spell.
Make an OC a different race without being racist.
You make them a that different race.
You study on that race, and then you can make them.
I mean, if you're making them like a normal person in normal human society, like normal modern day society. Yeah, normal modern society, just make them that character. Or just make them a person, and who happens to be said race.
It's the same with like when people have like gay or trans characters. It's like, if them being gay or trans is not prevalent to the plot, then it's not a big deal, because like your sexuality and your gender should not be the point of the book. Like, okay, a perfect example of this is when it's actually important is like in the new movie that's coming out, the Hello Simon. The book's actually called Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda, and the whole point of the book is it's a love story, but it's a love story about a kid who's in the closet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that's important for his character. But if it was just a normal love story, him being gay wouldn't really matter too much. But since it's him in the closet, and I think, because I haven't read I haven't read Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda. I think the guy he also likes is also in the closet, so it's like,
because I've only seen the previews, and I think that was the point.
Yeah, and so it's like see, Love Simon sounds so good. I want to see it. Yeah, I want to see it too.
I'm curious. I want to know what it's about. I want to see what happens.
Are you gonna look it up?
No. I want to see the movie.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, I want to see it too.
I'm curious.
Let's see. How would I write a character with abusive parents trying to survive high school in a world where he's the weakest out of all the others with magic? Okay, usually in those situations, that's when you have a character that's like an overachieving character. Okay, you'll have an overachieving character that no one will know what's wrong. A perfect example of this is, so forget the new Spider-Man movie. This is very important. You have to forget Homecoming existed, okay? Because I am a huge Spider-Man tard. So, in the original Spider-Man lore, in the comics and in the old movies, the Tobey Maguire ones, MJ was like really smart, super charismatic, a model, super popular, always doing stuff at school, and she was always doing this stuff because her parents were abusive as shit. And the only person who knew this was Peter, because he lived next door to her his whole life.
Well, they did. Yeah. They did say that their character would be the weakest, so the most underachieving.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they'd be the weakest, but they would still be trying. That's what I was trying to.
That's kind of like how Peter is, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the wimp. He was always the wimp.
Yeah. But he didn't have abusive parents.
So yeah. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is what you want to do is usually in those cases, as kids who like, okay, I wasn't abused, but a lot of my friends grew up very badly abused by their parents, and a lot of people didn't know. Like, a shit ton of people did not know. Because half the time, and not always, but half the time, when you're in a dark spot like that, you don't want people to know.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta remember that most abused people are conditioned to say that they aren't being abused.
Yeah.
If it's from birth, they're gonna say, I don't think I'm being abused. I think this is just how it is.
In fact, honestly, a lot of there's a lot of people who grow up who just kind of think that the abuse is just how it is. So like when they'll see like normal families or other families, quote unquote, they'll realize like wait, this is how it's supposed to be done? What is
Okay,
this?
I have a perfect example of that. So, okay, my parents were never abusive, all right? I have to emphasize this. But my grandmother, I learned, because she did live with us when her health was declining, I learned right away that my grandmother was a very fake person.
Yeah.
And so when the Alzheimer's kit hit, a lot of truthful shit came out. That was very, very hurtful to 13-year-old me.
Ouch.
Because
Oh.
I was the punching bag. And see, the thing was, I didn't have other grandparents. So I kid you not, I thought this was normal. I thought everyone went through this where your grandmother would tell you that, yeah, you're the reason that you ruin your mom's life, you're fat, no one's gonna love you, you're the reason why you don't have any friends and all this shit. And I was like, well, this is just grandparents. This is normal. And then like I met Cody's grandparents and I'm like, oh fuck, this is not normal.
Aw.
And it's okay. I mean, I'm over it now because like I'm an adult. But it's like back then it was very hard for me and like I never told anybody about it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is what everybody goes through. Because like, the thing too is like all my friends at the time, they weren't ever close to any of their grandparents either. So it was like, this is just life.
Yeah, and also like someone said, people who are abused try to cover it up the abuse by being hardworking or overly happy usually. Which yeah, most of the time that is true. In fact, like there's that quote whenever like the saddest people smile the brightest. That's very, very true. You know. So yeah.
Let's dig ourselves out of this weird hole.
Yeah, let's get out of this weird box. Sorry.
Hey, Mitchie,
Sorry.
did you ever watch Bo Burnham like I told you to?
I've watched more of his stuff, but I didn't watch the thing yet. Sorry.
Okay.
Isn't he making a movie right now?
I think he is something like that.
I think he is.
He's doing something important.
As Philip DeFranco was like, anyone who
Yeah.
knows Bo Burnham, he's making a movie, and I'm like, you go, Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
I said that let's dig us out of this hole, this weird hole, because he says that in one of his specials. He says, now you're thinking, how the fuck are you gonna dig the show out of this weird hole? You want me to be funny and make a point? Nah.
Someone asked a good question. I feel like my OCs look way too busy and crowded and don't know how to fix it without making them look too plain. Any advice? Well, okay. First of all, this does depend on a few things, but I'll try to give my advice. For one thing, if your OCs are drawn, because I'm assuming they are, it does depend on your art style. That is usually very important. Because like some art styles, like sometimes they really have to be simple, and then others can get away with being really complicated. So it really does depend on your art style. But when it comes to actual like story kind of stuff, a lot of the times you have to kind of look at your characters, figure out what is important for them to have, to include, and what isn't, and take out what really isn't important or relevant to their character, to expressing their character, or to the story, you know? So, like, honestly, and of course I would ask some people too, like, what is it? But if you feel like your characters have, like, too many accessories and stuff like that, then think about, like, okay, what accessories do they need to actually express their character, and what might be important to the actual story down the line, and then just like, what can I take away from that, So that's kind of my advice to that for making characters less busy and crowded,
It also depends on what kind of character you're making.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, because oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Sam.
You could have a demon who wears like no clothes. Then that's all you need.
Yeah.
But you could also have like a leader of an army who needs armor and stuff, and then you have to be a little more complex.
Yeah, I know I have characters like that for sure.
Like, I mean, okay, I know a perfect example of this. So, like, a lot of my characters are very simple. They're very simple because it's easier for me to draw, but there are many scenes in the book where they have some ornate jewelry that's important.
Mm-hmm.
And other things, like, especially since, like, Lorelai is a princess, and it's in that era, when I write her out, she's going to be wearing more... when writing a story, it's not like a comic book or a TV show. you want characters to have multiple outfits. You want characters to have, different hairstyles, that kind of thing. But you need to find a good middle ground on where to, like, make it so it's not, like, if they're a busy character, there has to be a reason for it. Like, the only one that's really detailed overly is Lorelai, and at one point Ringmaster during a show. But it's because that's, like, who they are. So, like, there's a scene where I had to write out, like, a really, really extravagant, like, ball gown and, like, the details of the mask and stuff, because it was important for the story and what was going on at the time. But that doesn't mean that she's going to run around dressed like that 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah. This person has been wanting their question answered. How do you introduce a completely fantasy world in a way that won't be boring to the reader? Most of my stories have a lot of exposition and I don't know what to do.
You pull a fucking Thor? Are you kidding me? I just now saw that in the chat. What the fuck?
What?
What you put?
Wait,
you pulled a fucking Thor.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I just now saw it.
Well, listen, it's really funny because you look at them both and you're like, you're implying that you're related? Because you know what they look like side by side.
Yes, I know I do.
He's adopted.
How do I stop comparing my creation and other writing to my friend's stuff? Like, how badly are you comparing it to your friend's stuff? Because if it's a really bad comparison, you might actually be ripping off your friend.
Yeah.
I'm saying this as someone who because I accidentally did this back in the day, like back in early high school, and I didn't realize I was doing it. So you need to be very careful, because like at one point I was thinking, before I had like the marked world fleshed out and everything, I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll have more dragons be running around, because I became friends with Anna and I was learning a lot more about dragons because she knows a shit ton about it that I didn't, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But then after a while I started thinking like, oh, this sounds a little too similar. And then I thought back, because the war had always been a thing, and so I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, that wouldn't make sense. They shouldn't be common, because they'd be the first thing hunted. Dragons are fucking huge.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, it's just like, take a step back and see if it's like a really big comparison. Because I mean, Zodiac and I have a shit ton of things in common.
Hey,
let's see.
God,
unintentional.
I can't even talk about the really big shit that happened that we realized.
Well, I mean, okay, so we have two gender confused characters. We have two gender ambiguous characters that are intentional. Unintentional, I mean.
Real quick though, I will say this. They could be talking about how, like, see, this is what I thought, because I read their comment and I thought they meant, comparing their work, like their work is better than mine.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I misread.
Yeah, which to that I would say, just, my dude, honestly, there's no real fancy way to say it, is just kind of like, don't
put your art up on a pedestal.
Yeah, like, because even if it might be better than yours, which I can't say if it is or not, because I don't know your stories, I don't know yours.
Yeah.
But like, even if it is, everyone improves and everyone gets better. So you shouldn't really be like thinking like, oh, well, my friend's stories are better than mine. If you are going to think that, use it to motivate you, because, like, it's. Or even if you think that their work is better than yours, then figure out why you think that. Maybe use that as a learning experience.
Yeah.
If you think your friend's art is better than yours, look at it from a different perspective and try to see how you can improve your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do we want to keep listing out the comparisons now, or do we?
I mean, keep going. We were waiting for this. I remember we were saying, like, we have to keep this, like, we have to wait until it pops up again, because it just. And this is shit. Oh
no.
Fuck, I don't know if I can say it with my character, because no one knows the character.
Which one?
Edgy.
God, wait.
Edgy Kai?
Oh, yeah. You
Okay,
call
so
him
we
Kai.
realized
It's
that
fine.
we have two characters. One of mine looks nothing like Zodiac's Kai
My boy
at
Kai.
all, but we realized that they have a shit ton in common with their pasts to the point where they have parent issues that are exactly the same that we didn't know until Zodiac was like, "Oh yeah, so then like this happens," and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?"
I know, and it's so weird because Kai is the one. Because Kai is a part of a group. Not gonna go much into that, but he's a part of a group, and there's a few of them in there where their stories aren't very fleshed out. But Kai's is already pretty fleshed out. So it was like I already had it like set up from the beginning, and then we find this shit out, and we're like, "What the fuck?" They're like the same character, except one is the less happy ending and one is the more happy ending.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say it's just like, if Kai went through the same shit as long as my character did, I'm pretty sure he would have broke too. Just be like, I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Like there was that. There was, let's see.
There's God, we gotta think about it now.
There's the repressed gay.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Like I can't say.
Of course, right.
So we have that. We have.
Let's see.
I know there's more. And it's like driving me insane right now.
I know. See, 'cause we've gotten to the point where there's just so many we just can't think of them off the top of our heads.
Shit.
God dang it.
Oh, the line of succession was another one.
Yeah, that's the thing. Not the same, but it's similar.
Not the same, but it was close enough. And
very
just
similar.
Like...
We had the thing that was like
It's hard because there's more, but I know I can't say it because I know it like, would give so much away. Go away. Fine, I'll leave, Sam. No, I'm kidding.
God. Okay, there's like.
While you guys are searching, I'm gonna answer a question real quick.
Yeah, please
How
do.
do you name a species of different race than humans, demons, etc.? There are name generators for everything. I tell this to everyone.
Definitely.
If you look up just like demon name generator, it's probably there.
Yeah, or a fun one. A fun one I tend to do is I'll take the word in Latin and then I'll make it into an anagram.
Yeah.
Someone said try Latin word.
Yeah.
Ha! See, there we go. Honey!
What else is there? I'm just gonna think about these in the background, just randomly shout them.
No, go ahead.
And I'm trying to think. Because I know there's more. I just like...
I know there's more too. I'm just trying to think too. Let's see, there's
Someone said, how do you spread out exposition? You can add filler.
Yeah.
You can always add filler. I mean, people might not like it, but if you want to do it that way, then no one's gonna have anything to say.
Oh, okay. I think a really good thing when writing, this is actually important. I know this doesn't have to do with filler, but one of the biggest things I hate is when someone tells me, "Don't worry, by like the third or fourth book, it gets really good."
Yeah.
Or like get 400 pages in, then shit happens, and I'm like, but see, if it's 400 pages of BS,
yeah,
and I'm bored throughout half of it. I'm not saying everything has to be like super super fast paced, but it should be at least within 100 pages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want to answer this one.
Go ahead.
I know this sounds weird, but how would y'all handle a weird comedic romance between a gun for hire and a weird eldritch flower god?
I mean, that sounds like something you'd need to do. I don't really know how to answer that question.
Oh my god, I thought of another one that was...
I need more specifics. How do they meet? How do they form a relationship? Does the god go into human form? Or does...
Is this a Percy Jackson thing?
Does the gun for hire try to kill the god and he... I need specifics.
Oh my god, I thought of another one though that was really important. So those same gender ambiguous characters
yeah.
are both scared of falling in love for issues stemming from their family.
Yeah, there we go. That was one of them that we found.
That was one of the biggest ones.
Oh goodness.
There was that one. There was
that one. There's the fact that two of them are like the same character.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, I love my boy.
Someone said, is an overly down-to-earth young woman gets dropped in fairy tale land and is forced to go on an adventure to a bad book concept.
I mean, no, if you write it right.
It's been done multiple times, actually, kinda.
Yeah, that's been done quite a lot.
Alice in Wonderland. There's a story on one of those choose your adventure apps that's kind of like that.
Yeah, those have been done like to death. I mean, my favorite book series of all time.
We're not saying don't do it.
Yeah, we're not saying don't do it.
To make it original.
Yeah, you were just saying like it just depends how you write it.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite book series of all times is ACOTAR, and it starts off with a human girl being captured by a fairy and brought to his kingdom. Like that's like bare bones, basic bitch of the plot. But that's not all that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remembered another one.
Okay, go.
We have a total of 3 between us, short white-haired trolls.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. With all vastly different personalities.
Yeah.
They're all the same freaking meme lord trolls, but
who just screw with everyone. There we go. There was another one.
This person's been asking this question multiple times, and I tried to bring it up earlier, but
sorry.
Sorry.
We're sorry.
How do I introduce a completely fantasy world in a way that won't be too boring to the reader?
I mean,
world build, because like mine is a very detailed fantasy world, and I love world building and lore building, and so the issue with a fantasy world is you have to make it feel realistic. And like, okay, a big thing that is if you want to make your own world and you don't want it to be a Christian world, you have to be very careful with how things are said. By that, like saying something like, because I read this a lot where it's like, oh, we're in this all new world where like Christianity doesn't exist, but they'll be like, oh, holy hell, and I'm like, but hell doesn't exist in this world because there's no Christian.
What about holy?
Yeah, like I'm sitting here like there are so many things you can like change with that, you know, and that's really hard, but that's what you have to think of when you're making an original world. Is it's like it's a lot like it's the same for different countries too. Like how we have sayings here in America are completely different than like sayings and slang and shit in France.
Yeah.
So that's something that you have to look out for, and it might sound boring, but if it's too boring to try to make it original, then maybe that's not for you. Like, I'm not saying it should be easy, but I'm saying, you know, you want to make sure that you don't slip up, because it's really easy. I've done it a lot, to slip up and like, okay, this is just like, because this is a saying I know, and then I'm like, no, wait, shit, that doesn't exist here. I gotta backtrack. Meme Lord trolls, I think you mean me.
Trolls.
They are such trolls, though. It's true. And they're completely different. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, try not to use oh god, etc. and stuff like that. Like, it's really hard when it's so easy, because it's like second nature to us.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things I've had to rewrite. Like I have certain characters, like when they're like in shock, they'll say something like, "Oh my stars," over like, "Oh my gosh, oh my god," something like that.
Yeah.
You know. Or there's one, fuck, I can't remember it right, but it's like, what in the 7 holy pits of no, shit, I fucked up. What in the seven demonic pits of whatever, I forgot what
sin.
It was. Is going on. Oh yeah, of sin is going on.
I only remember that because I remember my character's response to that.
Yeah, they made fun of it. They're like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
No, well, like, there's one of them here, but I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like, translation. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Pretty much what it is.
But yeah.
Like, okay, another big one. Birthdays. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard because, like, even back in the olden days, they didn't call it birthdays. They called it name days. It was when you were given your name or your namesake or something like that. And so it's like it depends on culture to culture. But I'll see someone like, "Oh, it's your so and so birthday," and I'm like, "Would they call it a birthday though? We're in a fairy world. Like, I don't think they would call it a birthday."
I don't know.
Now, if it was a human from our world being like, "When's your birthday?" But then the fairy should be like, "What's a birthday?"
Yeah.
I think they did that in the Tinkerbell movies.
Really?
They changed it. I think they changed it from birthdays.
You know what? I like the
Something.
Tinkerbell movies. Like, people shit on them. I like the Tinkerbell movies.
I've never watched them, so I can't comment.
They used to all be on Netflix. I don't know if they are anymore. That's how I watched them, because I wasn't going to pay for it. But I liked them. For a free Netflix movie, totally worth it.
Nice.
Okay, be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom again.
Have fun.
Sorry, I'm like drinking so much water, it's just running through me.
It's okay. Let's see.
I'm looking at a sneak peek for Tinkerbell just to see if they call it birthdays or do they call it something else.
Alright. What other questions are there? Don't know what that voice was, but it was something.
I want to know if they call it birthday. Come on.
Let's see. It's fine. It's fine. Call me Sam. That's cool. How would I work with a group of 8? I have one of these, but I don't know how to manage all of them at once. So it does depend what kind of story you're telling. Like if, of course, the characters are all supposed to be working towards the same goal and working together, then it would depend on like if they're all there at the same time of making them interact with one another. But like I would say that you do have to know who your main character is, because they could all be the main character and you could change perspectives, of course, but for whatever instance you have, you do need to know who your main character is and what's going on and what the goal is. I also don't know if you have your personalities worked out for them and their dynamics and stuff worked out or not, but like I would say just depending on what you're going for, if you got to just kind of know who your main character is and know what you're trying to do and not get so caught up in trying to make them all be involved at the same time, you know, like just I don't know, it does there's a lot of things that it could depend on, because again I do work with 99% of my stories are filled with just a ton of characters at all times, so like just it really depends on their personalities and how they would react and interact with things and that kind of stuff, because sometimes if you have a lot of really confrontational characters, it'd be a mess and it'd be chaos and you have to just figure out how to control the chaos. But if they're all rather calm and collected characters, and they might not, it's probably not going to be as chaotic and stuff like that. So yeah, it depends on a lot of things, like most things in writing.
I was talking about The Princess Bride earlier, and someone drew Adrian and Marinette from Miraculous as... Any advice on handling side characters, like the type that you would only appear in one chapter and not come back ever again?
Well, you know...
You have them say their one line, and then they never come back.
Yeah, and it depends on what their purpose is, you know?
Yeah.
Depends on who they are.
If they're just like a guard in a castle and they're like, they're attacking! There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
But if you're talking, because I have a feeling that you could possibly be talking about more important side characters, like you know, the kind that actually do have a purpose. In those, I would just, because, God, I have a very, very horrendous, terrible habit of falling in love with certain one-off characters and
Yeah.
and developing them way too much. But, okay, listen,
Yeah.
Sam. In an actual story, they wouldn't be as important. Okay, it's fine. Let me have my fun.
Yeah, Luniverse? Huh?
Hi, Luniverse. How are you? But yeah, so
Luniverse.
because I'm aware of my own problem, the key to doing that kind of thing is it is fine to flesh out any of your characters as much as you want because they are your characters and it is supposed to be fun. But when making an actual story, you have to know that a side character cannot take the spotlight. So sometimes those side characters are just going to have to be side characters and you're just not going to be able to get into everything with them. And if you really, really want to make that character and everything about them well known, then you're just going to have to make them their own story or find a way to make that possible, you know?
Do a side story if you really want to go into depth of what their deal is.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Do a spin-off book or whatever, just talking about what happened with.
Exactly. Just a very this is definitely a very good general rule is for a lot of things is know who your main character is and know what your story is. You know? And that'll tell you what to shine your light on. I mean, because I have plenty of examples of this. I have a story called Colorful where I had this doctor and this nurse show up that, like, I don't know why, but I fell in love with them. They were supposed to show up for the very beginning and then just be gone, or maybe just kind of reoccur as some occurring side characters just to be there. But I fell so much in love with them, I decided to make one of them a more important character in a different character's backstory. Or actually, multiple characters, but you know. Or like with Luniverse, practically any character that starts to be important, I develop way too much. But those developments wouldn't really show up. In fact, there's actually... Fun fact, I need to fucking draw them together. But, like, there are these two characters that, they're important characters in the story, but they're not, they technically, there is a huge, like, the main story, they hardly appear at all, and they just kind of go off, and they're just doing their thing, and I decided I shipped them together so much, so I just kind of pretend that, like, while the main story is happening, off to the side, just too irrelevant in the plot in the woods somewhere, they're just kind of living together and they're just being cute and falling in love. And it would make like a perfect side story someday. But it could never be a part of the main plot because it's not relevant, you know? So sometimes you just gotta know what to give and take and know when to, know what to show.
I want to say this one.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of different universes with completely different stories, but all come together to fight each other in one of the final acts. How would the universes be transitioned into each other?
Well, you see.
Huh, Zodiac?
Well, okay. It does depend on what you mean, because... Hi, Mitchie.
Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm back with Orange, and I realized something else we have in fucking common.
Oh, God, what?
I might get up real quick. I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay, what is it?
Go ahead. So since Sam's leaving, we can talk about Crackland for a hot second.
Yeah.
So, while I'm peeling this orange, it hit me, because I'm, like, dying.
Yeah.
And Cody's like, man, you have a really high pain tolerance. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh
no.
My God.
Oh, no.
Well, we talked about how, like, a certain character is very good at hiding his emotions. And I have another character that's very stoic and just like that character. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, no, it happened again.
No!
I'm back.
Because it hit me where it was like, because all the characters were like, you acted like it was nothing. I am in so much pain. Then I thought about it and I'm like, oh, wait a second. A certain character is always in constant pain and just doesn't talk about it.
Fucking hell.
Since Sweet Nurse Wife was like, how are you walking around?
They are the same character. How did this happen?
This bothers me on an emotional degree.
It is so.
I did not need to realize this while I was peeling my damn orange.
I can't believe that. Oh no. Just let him break a vase. It's fine.
It just I know.
Oh goodness. I like that. Random side note. I do like that a lot whenever whenever our one elf daughter said, like, he broke a mug on accident, and those two started fighting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Who won? Who do you think?
So someone asked a question, and we were dying.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, someone asked, I have a bunch of different universes with completely different stories, but all come together to fight each other in one of the final arcs. How would the universes be transitioned into each other? So I was like, oh!
Let's
so!
go, Zodiac.
Okay, so this is one I can't help with. Zodiac, it's all on you and Sam.
Okay, well, it does depend, because the way you phrase that question, I'm kind of assuming you mean that, like, each story is it's kind of the two-story thing where it's each story is doing their thing and then they all come together at the very end, which would be different.
A-side and B-side equal into...
Yeah, which would be different from mine, because mine, they all sort of start coming together at the beginning and you learn about their universes later on. In which that case, it kind of goes back to what we said earlier, is that you just kind of have to, like, make them flow together, and you do have to acknowledge the fact that they would have like, you have to really get, because this is a big problem that I've run into a lot because of my fucking obsession with multiverses. Because you will always know everything that is happening in each of your universes. So
Oh no, I get what you're saying. Is you have to prevent your characters from becoming meta.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I know exactly, because, like, okay, I have a character that technically is very meta, but that's within her character because she can see timelines.
Yes.
But she's the only one of my characters that can do that. So, and there's a loophole to it. So, like, whenever anyone wants to try to fight her, she knows where the attack is before it's going to happen, so she just kind of, like, lazily gets out of the way. That might seem very, very OP, but she is a very emotionless, very monotone, very, in a way, sarcastic character. And even though she has all these powers, she doesn't use them constantly. It's just something that's, like, always on, which, to me, when I was creating this character, I saw it more of, like, okay, like, you know those people who have, because there's a mental condition where, like, you can't forget anything? So you tell them, like, a date, and they'll know exactly what happened at that date time, what day it was, what the season was. Like, they cannot forget. And those people are very, like, I'm not making fun of them, but those people are usually very antisocial, very blunt, very kind of monochromatic. I mean, not monochromatic. Monotone. And so that's what I based that character off of. So she seems very, very OP, but it's not really her fault. And so because of that, she knows other people can't do it, which is why she doesn't help. It's like, why don't you fix this? I mean, I can, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Why? Well, I would just solve everyone's problems too easily.
Yeah. It's too OP.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, like, with coming together, you just gotta kind of keep that in mind. So, like, if these characters from different universes are going to interact, you just have to acknowledge the fact that you have to really kind of get into the idea that, okay, they are meeting this person from a totally different world. They can't have any clue what's happening, you know?
Yeah.
Just stay away from, like it kind of goes back to, like, our thing of how, like, they wouldn't say, oh my god, you know?
Yeah.
How slang would be different. You gotta just kind of, like, get in the idea, like, if someone said, you know, as an example, it's kind of a shitty example, but, like, someone says, like, oh my god, and the other person's like, what's god? Like, who?
Oh my god, I thought of a stupid one.
Oh god.
I thought of Chroman virus being praise be binary.
Praise be binary.
I know, it's so dumb. It's so dumb, but I'm just sitting
I almost want to keep that.
I mean, go ahead. I don't care.
I mean, they'd probably say just, like, something around the queen or whatever, because that's important. But, like, I don't know. But but just kind of stuff like that. So, and then, like, for the reason is up to you, because I don't know what your story is like. So, you know, mine has a lot to do with portals and bullshit. But, you know.
You mean a wizard did it?
No.
See, Sam knows the reference I'm making.
A wizard did it. I don't know.
I mean, some of them are just time travel, so I mean...
Yeah. That's something you have to be... Ooh, okay, so... You have to be very careful with time travel because I had to research the fuck out of this for that one character.
Trust me. I know. Trust me.
And so the only way for time travel to work back in time is, which is a joke because I kind of literally made this happen. You're gonna get it once I say it.
Yeah.
Is it's the you are your own grandfather sort of situation.
You are your own grandfather.
And so that's why there's a certain character.
Futurama, huh?
It's a true. It's like Futurama said it, but that's a real concept in time travel theory.
Yeah.
Anything you do in the past isn't going to affect the future because it's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Like how, what was it? Zoidberg was the alien they caught in Area 51, and the flying saucer was Bender. That's not a flying saucer, that's my ass! And so I had to, there's a part where that kind of happens, later on, and a certain character's made because of that, and it's like, oh, it's so weird, he looks just like you. It's like, yeah, I don't know why. But it's like things you have to look at like that, because a lot of people when they do time travel stuff, another good example, I feel bad saying this, it's fucking Harry Potter, but it's like when they did the time turner stuff, it's like, how'd you know you could do it? Because I already did it. And it's like, okay, cheesy line is cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man.
The 8th, was it the 8th or the 9th?
What?
The one with Harry's son. Ooh, it got messed up by that time turner, huh?
Oh my god, can we not talk about the cursed child? That book.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's so bad. Okay, a lot of it made sense, but then they had to be like, do you care if we spoil it? I know Zodiac doesn't care. Do you care?
I don't care.
I've already seen it in the form of someone ranting about
spoilers
it.
for anyone who cares.
Anyone who read The Cursed Child. So, I was so pissed that they went the fan fiction route. You know what? Fuck it. Fine, have Nazi Hogwarts. Whatever. But why was it Voldemort's daughter? Doesn't make any sense. That is the most fan fiction-y thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
Also, her whole plan is to bring back a better villain.
Yeah.
Why not just make her a good villain?
Exactly. And why make her Voldemort's... Oh, please do. It's like,
I'm gonna link you to some videos.
Why make her Voldemort's kid? Because they full on was like, Bellatrix was my mom, and she gave birth to me before the Battle of Hogwarts. And I'm like, I'm sitting here, and I'm like, the fuck? First of all, Bellatrix
and Voldemort had a child.
Yeah, but it's like, and first of all, in the books and in the movie, Voldemort doesn't really look human-like anymore. And I feel like
he's
sex...
not even human anymore. He's just...
I know he's not. Yeah, Voldy had a baby. Hey, Zodiac, you're certain characters like Voldemort. I forgot about that. That was a comparison you forgot about.
Listen, it's fine. Mine can't have one, so it's okay. It's okay.
Here's the 2 videos where I learned that the cursed child was a piece of shit.
Okay, there were certain things that did make sense that I liked, but then when the main plot of the story was, well, we have a forbidden time turner that can go back years, and then I'm like, but you literally, in the 3rd Harry Potter book, I think that's what it was, they literally did the grandfather theory, because everything they did happened. They just realized they were the ones that caused it.
I thought I saw my dad. Oh wait, it was me.
Yeah. It's like, wait, my dad will be here. And then it's like, that was one line that was super cheesy though. It's like,
yeah,
how did you do it? How did you do it? Because I already done it. And I'm like, oh, that was so bad. But yeah, they were like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go back in time to the freaking Triwizard Tournament and save Cedric Diggory.
Who no one wanted saved.
Yeah, out of everyone who fucking died, Cedric Diggory was what changed the future. It's like, what?
We could have saved Fred. Fred is
I
Fred
know.
the one that died? We could have saved Fred. But
It was Fred. It was Fred.
We go back and save Cedric.
Right? Let's save Cedric. But then if we save Cedric, he becomes a fucking Death Eater, and it's like, what the fuck? First of all, that goes against yeah.
And also, for some reason, Hermione and Ron's kid is just not there, and he's in Gryffindor.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and freaking
Just out of
the
nowhere.
one thing I liked though, I liked Scorpius. I liked Malfoy's son. Malfoy's son is like Gabe.
Scorpius is a good boy.
He is exactly like Gabe, but he sucks at magic. He is a good boy.
He's
Scorpius
just trying his best.
His mom died when he was very young because of a sickness, and he just wants to be there for his dad. Aww. He's trying.
Oh, my favorite.
He a good boy.
So Mitchie, if you
guys are rambling in a Q&A live stream. We've answered a lot of questions.
Well, okay, someone ask a question.
Yeah, someone ask a question.
Also, I mean, these are kind of questions you have to ramble on because stories are complicated.
Mitchie, if you watch those videos, both of them.
I will. I have to wait till we're done, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, you kind of have to ramble when it comes to anything story-related, because stories are fucking complicated.
We have to talk about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
They brought Snape back, and I'm sorry. You know, Snape, I don't like Snape. I never liked Snape. He's a douche.
He redeemed himself, but he was always kind of an asshole.
Well, okay. He redeemed himself, but for a wrong reason. I'm sorry, like, because I've watched, like... In the books, he's a lot worse than he is in the movies. Like, I didn't know that until I read the books, and I'm like, oh. And then I realized you did all of this because you were still hung up on Harry's mom. To the point, okay? Because in the book, this stood out to me and made me fucking angry, because this was never mentioned in the movie. In the book, he goes to Dumbledore and is like, I don't care if Harry's dad dies. I don't want Lily to die. They can kill the child and Harry's dad, but Lily can't die. And then he's salty that Lily and Harry's dad died, but Harry's alive. And I'm like... No,
he did that in the movie.
Oh, did he do that in the movie?
It was in that memory rewind.
Oh, because I didn't remember him.
It was when he showed that his Patronus
was the deer. Right, but like, boy, she doesn't love you like that. Get over it.
Okay, I have a question again.
Go ahead.
Okay. What do I do when I have a thirst for angst and character death that can never be satisfied but isn't completely for character development? I swear I say with a sword to my kid's neck.
You make a story where they all die in the end.
I mean, if it's for character development and for story stuff, then it's for character.
Oh my god! Okay, technically that is a book. That's a book that came out recently that I want to read, where it's called "They Both Die at the End." And no, this like. It takes place in the future where everyone has a set time limit on when they die, and so when you die, you're given like a text. It's like, this is your last day to live, and then you get to open up this app that are also people that are going to die that day in your area. And so you get to hang out with someone who's also going to die. And so people were surprised at the end of the book, they both fucking died. When literally the title of the book is They Both Die at the End.
Well, I guess
there's a Netflix movie that's like Jerry dies at the end.
Really?
Yeah. People are surprised when he actually dies at the end. It's like, I said it.
It's in the title.
How do you guys, as writers and artists, balance out having to choose to focus on one or the other?
You don't. You just feel what you want to do.
Yeah, just...
For me, like, art is my job, so when I want to chill and not do art, I write.
Someone asked, so are you guys sitting in a room together, or are you on a call together? No. I'm just curious. No, we're in a call.
I live in California.
I live in Tejas.
I live in Wisconsin. I'm also eating a shake.
Ooh. So how do you handle a good character / villain redemption plot? Example, same Eldritch Flower god from earlier slaughtering men in history, but gaining more humanity and empathy during romance. That's a good one.
I don't know, Zodiac. I haven't a clue.
Well,
I'm
gonna bring up one we brought up before. Zuko.
Yeah.
Well, because it does very much depend. Because you know what? Some people, they just ain't redeemable. That's the thing. Like, I actually have, God, I don't want to spoil it. Well, like, okay, it'll be fine. It's going to be said in the live stream. No one's going to dig this up. But, like, okay, in Luniverse, everyone knows that it's very, very clear that Solar is the final boss. He's the main antagonist.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of other fucking antagonists in Looniverse. And each one at varying levels of bad, you know? Some of them are actually bad. Some of them are just kind of good, but
Annoying.
have the wrong, you know. It depends. Like, one chick's... But for me, my thing is that I don't like writing villains without reasons for them to do villain things. It's just not
exactly. Exactly.
So, like, even Solar technically kind of has a reason. It's a really shitty reason, which is why he's the main antagonist. Is it a shitty as a Ustet reason, or what?
Is it a shitty as a Ustet reason, or is it just a shitty
Kinda,
reason?
honestly. He just really was just kind of like, you know what? I'm done with this shit. I just want to be the one god.
Isn't his reason is he just kind of wants to be the best?
He just kind of got sick of all the other fucking gods, so he's like, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna pick you off one by one and then just take over.
That's what that one picture of Solar and Infinity is. It's
exactly.
Just, I want to be powerful.
But there is a very, very important thing, because it's very important to Infinity's character development too. Is that the thing is, there's all these villains of varying levels of bad, and practically all of them get redeemed or at the very least forgiven.
Yeah.
Except for Solar, because he's just that irredeemable.
Solar is literally just killing people to be powerful.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have any intention to stop. And it's also important because there's a reason why the future is actually important in Looniverse. It comes back around. The reason why the future is important is because it shows that the only timeline that has seemed to end up good is where just Solar's not a thing. Not like he exists, but he's not a thing in the future because he's dead. So
he did.
It's either kill off Solar or have a whole future.
Exactly, which is important to Infinity, because Infinity is one of those naive characters who believes that anyone can be saved and thinks, well, if we can forgive this chick and have it all be okay, why can't we forgive this person I've basically seen as a brother my whole life? So it's a very important thing. But like, so it does depend on what it is, but if you make your characters human, you can easily redeem them. And this is the one I'm sure Mitchie's thinking of. I have a character who's a really fucking evil bitch who does a lot of shitty things, and you're really, really supposed to hate her. Even her original character design is supposed to be not super appealing because...
Oh! Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking you're talking about.
What?
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. You know.
You know what's up. But you find out later on, I'm going to keep it vague so it's not spoilers. You find out the reason why they did what they did, and it's not really a valid reason that makes up for everything, but it makes them human and it makes them possible to redeem, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't forgive them for doing it, but you can.
Which is actually ironic, because I also have a character with somewhat of that same complex.
Mitchie.
I've just been waiting.
Mitchie!
It's in a different way.
Okay.
She's not like that. She's human, kinda.
Mitchie.
You know who it is, and it's not Snake Lady.
Oof.
Oh
no.
Because, yeah, but the difference between, the difference between that character and our character is my character. Oh wait, no, I can't say it's a spoiler. Never mind.
Shoot.
I was like, okay. What I'll say is it makes a little bit more sense because I know a lot about that character you're talking about.
Yeah.
it makes more sense for hers than my character. My character is just like.
You want to type it out?
I'm gonna type it out.
Yeah, but like, so that's the thing. So that is the thing that. Wait, is there a time reality god in universe? Yes, I've actually drawn and posted him before. But yeah, so that's the thing with like redeeming characters, is it just really depends on different things. Oof, that's who it is. Okay.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Oof. That makes sense. I was thinking, I was trying to figure out who it was, but you know. Oh.
Yeah.
And I know nothing.
It's fine.
Like the audience.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, okay. But yeah, so Quirk, there is a time reality god. His name is Eternity, and his reason for surviving is different than Infinity's. So, do you guys have a Discord for sharing stories and artwork? I mean, not one just for that, but I have a
We have
Discord.
Zodiacs. I have one that's
We
under
have a
wraps,
fan
but it's not
Discord?
done yet.
Yeah.
Change your name from the TheZodiacLord to the Ooh.
So yeah, that's our thing with let's see. Oh my god. I want to see a video of, let's say, specific character traits and backstories and guess if it's Mitchie's or Zodiac's or both.
Oh my god.
No, I low-key want to do that. That'd be
We still got a few group streams to do, Zodiac.
I know.
I know.
We have so much.
Oh look, what's your zodiac sign?
Virgo.
Is it a Taurus? We don't know what she is.
Oh, I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay.
I'm the horse guy.
I'm the bull. And Zodiac's the lady.
I'm sorry, I was reading.
No, it's okay. I'm still typing it out.
Oh.
Zodiac is the lady.
Oh my god.
That's what Virgo is, right? It's just
I'm the virgin.
You're just the virgin.
The virgin
Aren't we
maiden.
all?
Comedy advice. I mean, there's many different types of comedy, so.
You can do. There's so many different comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get it?
Ooh, I get it now. Anyway, sorry.
No, go ahead.
How do you
No.
write a good opposing force? I can't come up with villain. How do you make good villains?
Again, that depends on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
How many Mary Sues do you guys have?
I mean, I'd hope I wouldn't have any. But,
I mean,
you know.
I have really, really powerful characters, but I like to give them, again, you want to give them, like, quirks so they're not so overpowered that it's gross.
Mhm.
Perfect example, I was talking to Zodiac about this the other day, because Cody started watching Soul Eater.
Yeah.
Oh,
He never
yeah.
watched it, because he'd never watched it before.
Oh, that
And
was
so-
delightful.
He was like, oh, it was great. We're still watching it, but because I watched it back when I was in high school. But what happened was, when it was coming out, Cody was like, God, why do they have to give kids such bad OCD? And I'm like, because if not, he would be an OP as fuck Mary Sue. And he's like, oh,
Uh-huh.
this
Yeah.
is true.
If he didn't have OCD, he would be the powerful.
He would just
hero.
wreck everything. Like, there would be no show.
Yeah, like, okay. So, goodness. There's, like, the thing is, too, it's what really does, this is slightly off topic, but still kind of on topic. What does kind of irritate me sometimes is whenever people give the advice to, like, never make your character, like, super overpowered or whatever, which isn't bad advice to encourage someone not to make your character super powerful, but you shouldn't be afraid to do it, because it can definitely, you can make a very interesting character that's, just because I know that these guys would get the reference, you can make a very interesting character who's basically Jesus.
Yeah.
You can.
Zodiac has one.
Yes. He's not canon, but I love him.
What do you want? Make him canon now? Jesus.
No, I couldn't. There's no way
I couldn't.
I'm gonna just love him being non-canon, okay? Because at least it means I can just draw him way too much.
This person said my villain is based off me. Is that a self-insert? But he is a he, and I'm a girl, and we look nothing alike. So is it just personality?
Yeah, I mean,
It's not really a self-insert if it's just personality.
Yeah, I mean, even then, self-inserts aren't necessary. Yeah, the person got it. Anyway, so, it's really not, like, it isn't really that bad, you know?
One Punch Man is also a good example of an OP character with something that's hindering them. He's just doing it for fun. He's just doing it for fame. He's not doing it to be a hero.
Yes, it is Gabriel. That's who it is. I love him.
He a good boy.
I love my Jesus son. He's doing his... I did, like... You weren't here for it, Mitchie, but Sam did off camera call him a Mary Sue.
Oh no, I heard it. It was in the live stream.
Oh, really?
When I was driving home, yeah. It's like, you made him Mary Sue, and you were like, no, hold on.
He's not a Mary Sue, okay?
It's his fault. He fixes the mistakes he caused.
Yeah. And the narrative definitely does affect him. I.e. Jesus Satan standoffs part 1, 2, and 3.
Oh my god. And she's still not dead.
I know!
Come back.
There's gonna be a part 4 someday.
Jesus was a Mary Sue.
How do you make a character that is very sensitive and weak and later becomes strong?
That's just basic character development.
Yeah, that's character development.
They learn to get over the things that they're weak and learn to get stronger and learn to fight their flaws.
I mean, Deco from My Hero Academia. Harry Potter. Percy Jackson. Cadis.
Hell yeah, I love Percy Jackson. I love the first book of Percy Jackson.
Yeah, Brandon loved it too. Poor Brandon. Oh my god. So Brandon was when the first book. He was your guys' age. So, well, I mean, his Zodiac's age. So. What happened was he was super excited when the movie was coming out because he was like, Michelle, you have to take me. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because it's the first book I ever read that's being a movie, and so I never read the Percy Jackson book, so I'm going with him. And I watched his heart just sink.
Oh.
He was like, the first thing he's like, why is Grover black? And I'm like, he's not black in the books, and he's like, no, he's a ginger. And he's not a weird hipster. Like, he wants to save the forest.
Oh.
And so another thing too, and he was like, it wasn't, and another thing is like, it wasn't a fucking iPod. It was a piece of mirror. He's like, and then they didn't get high at the casino. What is going on? I'm like, and I never read it, so I'm like, poor Brandon. And then we saw the second one, because he's like, okay, I'm gonna give the second one a chance. And then he saw it, and he's like, that bitch ain't fugly. He's supposed to be fugly. And I'm like, oh my god.
Oh no. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Percy Jackson has daddy issues. Can't need advice, guys and gals and trash cans. Okay, what's your advice?
What's the thing?
It was ask away.
They're gonna take an hour. I heard my name. I'm a trash can.
I'm not ready. Oh god, I don't want to think about this right now. God.
I ship my OC and my other OC wanted to be canon, but...
Oh, don't feel bad. I have crack pairings in my own head that make me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I randomly think of them like, What if Tetsu and Ringmaster did the do? Neither of them fucking ever would, but it always makes me laugh.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. It's hilarious to me.
I
mean, again, it's like, yeah.
With me and Zodiac, we have Homestuck story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what would happen if Dana and Clay actually dated?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it would kind of work, but it also would be really weird. Because they have things that they can agree on. Like, but they're also so different, and Clay's an asshole to Dana. You might not see it, but he's such a dick. Stop calling Dana a fake albino. Let her do what she wants.
Any advice on creating fictional
She wants to
language
dye
history?
her hair.
Okay, the meme lord, because I know exactly, because I have a shit ton of fictional languages in mine. The best thing to do is, there's two ways to write it. One way is to have the characters written out what they're saying, but it's in that foreign language so no one knows what they're saying. And then you have, this is like more of a point of view thing. So like, if it's a first person book, and I have a character of mine, I'll use Tybalt just as an example, because he sucks at his job. So let's say Tybalt meets a Fae from one of the Free Islands. Now the Fae speak their own language because they've been away from humans for like thousands of years. So it's like a weird mutated version of Elvish and like weird Draconic language. So when he meets them, it would be like they would start talking to him, and he would be like, I have no idea what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah.
Like, at all. But it would still sound like words and sentences, but he wouldn't be able to understand it. But now if it was written in third person, what I would probably do is I would have the, like, what the Elvish people are saying translated so everyone else knows what they're saying. But then I would still have Tybalt react to it the same way, because even though the reader knows what they're saying, the actual character in the scene doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like in Star Wars when they translate the alien languages. Like, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Someone asks, how do I get people to care about an asshole character?
Make them being an asshole make sense.
Yeah.
If they're just being an asshole to be an asshole.
Like, Zodiac's character, Wrath, has a very good for being an asshole.
What a dick.
But he does have a good reason. Oh, Zodiac.
He has a good reason, I know, but
he's still a dick, I know.
He's just a dick.
He's a little bunny boy. Just let him be a bunny boy.
He's
Zodiac,
just done with everyone's shit.
Zodiac, what's your inspo for Larith?
Larith,
Larith, sorry.
I don't know, it's whatever.
Make them gay!
It's really sad how much that would work nowadays. Because some people will see like a gay character and just immediately fall in love with them for nothing more than the fact that they're gay. But it's fine.
Yeah.
We're not going to go on a tangent about that.
Yeah.
Don't make a character gay just so you can reel in the gay crowd.
Yeah. But my inspiration for Rith was more...
Rith.
God, I don't like... I don't think there's anything that...
Can I have a picture of this character? I don't remember this character.
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually posted a picture of her recently. Because I wanted to redraw her. But, like, she's in Luniverse. But,
okay, that's why.
Yeah,
I don't know a lot about Luniverse.
She is my witch girl Vanessa's teacher. Technically, she's the one who made her a witch.
Okay. So she's not the long nailed spoopy girl.
No. Here. Why did I copy the fucking... Here, I'll give the actual image.
Oh, her.
Yeah, her.
Oh, I don't remember this. When did you post this?
The first picture was a long time ago. This one was recently. Like yesterday.
This is the redraw from yesterday.
Yeah, that was from yesterday.
Oh, I must not have seen it.
Yeah, but like, okay, because I don't think there was anything that like directly inspired her, but like, it was more kind of, I needed a character to teach Vanessa, and I felt like a good contrast for Vanessa would be kind of just a really like serious, straight-faced lady who's just kind of like, really chill, almost like the image I had in mind was almost like a really strict, intimidating teacher who's also just really chill. But like,
so you made Kakashi?
I don't know, did I?
Oh shit! Sorry, that's a Naruto reference.
I haven't watched Naruto.
Okay, sorry. That was my shit back in middle school. So like, I still remember a lot of the characters today.
Yeah, I know you did. But she there's a picture of it somewhere. Like my most famous Draw the Squad meme. The character, which is like the two characters bursting in and the one reading the book. She's the one reading the book in that one. But like, cause she's just, and she's like really has a kind heart too, which is fun. And it's just, you know, she was kind of made out of necessity, but she's a nice character who's like all the other characters in the universe, has way too much of a backstory than she needs, but it's fine. It helps her relate to Vanessa. It's all good. What?
I just saw Naruto was the bomb. Now all we got is burrito.
Oh my god. I mean, true though.
Boruto is just turning out to be kind of shit. Just wanted to bring that up. They're trying to combine the ninja action with a slice of life anime.
It's okay. I also heard apparently aliens are involved now, and I'm so glad I got out of this because I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Oh god. Someone
new boy.
Someone said on one of my Insta posts, I apparently said gluttony needs protected. Why? She can handle herself if greed is terrified of her. Because gluttony is a doof. She's only really scary when she gets mad.
She's gullible.
She is gullible as shit.
She's gullible, and that's why she needs to be protected.
This is a spoiler, so I can't say it.
Wait, well, what spoiler is it though? Because you might.
No, I don't think I can. I was gonna be like, I'll type it out.
Yeah, type it out.
I'll put the group chat because I know Sam knows this one too, so I'm just gonna type it out where it's like.
It's robots, not aliens. In Boruto.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Hang on.
I mean, am I wrong?
No.
No.
That's why I'm like, I don't know if I can say it.
No, that's yeah.
It's a spoiler.
The way you phrased it, it's fine. But
Yeah,
you're right though. She couldn't wait 5 minutes. She was. It's because she's used to just getting things.
Well, you know what? She's still a stupid hoe.
She is like. It's not even being insulting. She is stupid. That is important. It's not important.
She is very sweet, but she dumb.
She very dumb, which I don't feel. It's not an insult. She's dumb. Because I needed that. Because all of the sins can't be smart.
Yeah.
Plus, also that's also intentional because it's how Gluttony and Envy were made. So, because she's supposed to be because. It's the character trope of the bimbo and the bitch.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, see? I say it all the time. The sins are made to embody stereotypes that get broken.
I mean, me.
Yeah.
I mean, so many of my characters can be boiled down to stereotypes that I just wrecked on their head. Like Tetsu. Tetsu is best mom, which is also proof that, you know, sometimes being best mom isn't good for your health.
Yeah.
Your heart's gonna get you killed.
Yeah.
Awkward laugh.
I'm sorry. She's not dead.
She didn't die. She almost did.
But that's because it's like... That's the thing, too, is because, like, you know, you have to be careful. Like, Tetsu's a very, very, very smart character, but how she was raised, she didn't get to have a formal education. She didn't get to do a lot of things normal kids could, or even just rich kids could. So that's why she has to work, like, 3 to 4 times as hard. So she actually is very smart.
Uh-huh.
But she's just not, like...
She got a big heart.
she got a big heart, and that's what gets her into trouble, because she'll be like, her brain's like, that's dangerous, and she's like, but a child's crying.
Yeah.
I know I should not trust this, but the feels.
But the poor child.
The child's feelings are hurt. I need to check.
I mean, it's the same when, like, in Crackling, when she tried to help one of the Sins out, and they were just like, fuck off, and she was like, oh, okay, never mind, I'll just leave. Shit, sorry. Well, I shouldn't say shit, she wouldn't say shit, but you know what I mean.
Right? Yeah.
No, she wouldn't, she'd just be like, oh, okay, I'll just, here's like a mountain of cupcakes in my pet fixture door, I'll just go.
Oh. Crackling's fun. Oh, good. How do you start off a fantasy story? Well, there's many ways to start off a fantasy story. There's many ways to start off any story.
Well, okay, for a fantasy one especially, there are two types you can do. Like, if you boil it down. There's the fish out of water, which that's usually the Harry Potter, the Percy Jackson, the Vampire Diaries, where it's like, I'm a normal person just thrown into this magical world that I didn't know existed. So that's how come you relate to the main character, because they're seeing it for the first time and so are you. Then the other one is, it's this world and you're just in it. Like in The Hobbit or in Lord of the Rings, they're already in their world. This is what they know, this is what they do, and they're going on an adventure. Hello? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah. Like in Star Wars, it's like, I want to go fight, and his parents are like, no. And then he just does it anyway.
Judy from Spy Kids was an asshole. I went to high school with that guy.
I love hearing you say I went to high school with Junie from Spy Kids.
I know.
I didn't realize it until like halfway through my freshman year, because he was on our like school news thing, and he was still talking about Spy Kids even though he was like a senior. And then like whenever anyone would see him in the hallway, he would be like a super douche, like, I was in a movie, and it was like, yeah, you were in Spy Kids, calm the fuck down.
You were in one of the lowest, what is it?
Production value.
Yeah, lowest production value movie ever. You sat on the floor in front of a green screen. Good job.
Is it too cliched for two of my characters to be a combination of an interspecies romance trope and the forbidden love trope, and one of them dies and tragedy ensues, and oh lordy.
Nervous laughter from the whole group.
Fuck. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you mean. The answer is yes, just write it. Good.
Just do it. If you have an idea for something, do it.
Don't let cliches and tropes stop you, because any of it can be written correctly.
Oh, no. He can still look good. That's fine. I'm just saying, he was an asshole.
You can be a hot asshole.
Yeah. I mean, look at Wrath and Lust. Look at, like... Or other characters that are good at, like, it's a good one. Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is an asshole.
He's a big asshole. But
Robert
I love
Downey
him.
Jr. got kind of turned into an asshole once he became Iron Man.
That too. See?
Now he's like, I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, sure, dude.
Just saying, Junie's really hot now. Oh, is he hot now? Is he doing stuff?
Let me look him up. What's his real name?
I don't fucking remember.
I'll just look up.
What is Doctor Strange? It is the Marvel movie. Yes.
He does not look hot. Don't say this, guys.
Have you guys gotten Cookie?
Have you seen him in Spy Kids 4?
Have you seen Cookie from Ned's Declassified Now? He's fucking hot.
Have you seen him in Spy Kids 4? He's not
Oh
cute.
my god. Yeah, that's what he looked like back in high school. Yep, that's...
That was Spy Kids 4. By the way, if you didn't know there was a Spy Kids 4.
Okay, wait, hold on. Spy Kids 4. Oh! Was he in Spy Kids 4? That was the 4D one, right? I never saw that.
Spy Kids 4 was not focused on them, but they were both The girl looks better.
Okay, so Spy Kids are a treasure and trash. Like, I rewatched them, like, semi-recently, I think, like, last year. And I remember being like, this was my jam as a kid, and oh my god, what the hell? Why is George Clooney turning into, what was it?
You want to know something funny?
Yeah.
In Spy Kids 4, Junie plays a dick.
Really?
Yeah, he's a total asshole.
Oh my god.
His introduction is him walking through the door with shades on, and he's like, "What's up?"
Oh my god.
I'm already late. I do like in Spy Kids 4, though, that the boy is deaf.
Oh, that's cool.
He has 2 hearing aids, and they function.
Anyone remember Spy Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god. That
Taylor
fucking
Lautner's
movie.
first appearance.
That fucking movie. You're not evil. You're light. You.
I just think of Taylor Lautner singing the "Close your eyes, shut your mouth, dream a dream, and get us out." I just think of that.
That was the jam as a kid.
You know what's so sad?
What?
About Taylor Lautner? It's like sad and funny.
Oh god, I'm sorry, real quick. There's a fucking picture I need to find that was like it was like Lava Shark and Girl Boy.
Oh my god. No, but okay.
I'm gonna find this.
So what happened was, there was a meme I saw on Tumblr, like, of this, like, Shiba Inu, and then it was, like, sexy Taylor Lautner from the Twilight movies, and then it was a fat Shiba Inu and what he looks like now, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh.
Because it was something like, you don't have to be a hot werewolf anymore, finally eat donuts, and I was like, that's so mean!
Oh.
But it's true, he doesn't have to be a werewolf anymore.
I mean, that was like what we saw when we saw The Greatest Showman. Cody's like, oh my god, all of Hugh Jackman's beef is gone. I'm like, well, do you blame him?
Always remember, nobody hates the Twilight movies more than the actors that were in the Twilight movies.
Yup.
Jesus!
That's Cody, that wasn't me.
I found it.
Monday, wait!
I found it.
I want Wander.
Loading.
Please get me Wander.
Shark Lava and Boy Girl.
Definitely cooler than those other two. Anyway.
Oh my god!
Mitchie, I'm gonna find you the Junie scene from Spy Kids 4.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Please do.
Alright.
And I just want you to watch it real quick and tell me
right
if this
now?
was an accurate representation of him in high school.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay. Ask more questions. We're getting off topic.
Just really quick. There you go.
Why am I a tit? Say hi to Zodiac and them because my internet's...
Hello, Zodiac and them.
Hello, Cody.
Sim. Okay, bye. Wait, honey, I need another Zycam. You took the bottle. You gave me one. You literally pulled out one and gave it to me. Remember? You were like, here's one, and then you ran off with the bottle. I wish it was a bottle, I wouldn't feel pain.
Oh no. Okay. We need actual questions.
Mitchie, just real quick, look at this.
Oh, did you send it? Okay, well, I don't think I'll be able to be in the call while I'm doing it, but I'll try. Let's see if it'll work. Hold on. Because remember, I'm on my phone.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye out for...
I have to be on my phone because my computer doesn't want to connect to the internet, so...
Yeah.
Alright, hold on.
Silence.
I'm happy that the CGI was still just as bad.
Sounds like such a dick.
What?
He just
What?
sounds...
Oh, no, not that, Cody. What? Hold on, guys, just a second.
Yeah, if anyone has more story-related questions.
We're just waiting.
How do you write a story that switches between characters?
How?
Oh wait, I cut out.
That one seems like an often one.
A what?
That seems like an often question.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, because the thing is, it depends on, again, what you're going for. Mitchie could tell you. What?
Not that. My cat found a way to shit on the ceiling, and we're both very confused. Because Cody's like, you have to come here, and just on the wall, on a very part of the wall, there's just a cat turd just stuck to the fucking wall of our room. And none of us know how it got there.
It had to get there
somewhere. He was like, you need to see this.
Oh no.
I don't know how the fuck Biggs did that. What the fuck?
Biggs
probably stepped in its poop and then accidentally tracked it.
It got stuck on his foot and he freaked out.
That's what Sam just said.
It
It
got stuck on his foot and he freaked out, so he flung.
He did that earlier. Not that, but he was dumb. So I was cleaning up. Before I got sick, I was cleaning out my workroom. And I had these bags with old mugs in it. Well, frickin' Zodiac. Why did I say Zodiac?
Because
frickin' Biggs jumped in the bag and got his neck stuck in the armhole and was freaking out. And so instead of letting me take it off, he was running throughout the house. We're just hearing the glass shatter in the bag, and he was super poofy and angry and upset. Now let me finish this Spy Kids thing real quick. But I love my cat, but he's not. Oh my god. Yep, he's still short.
So anyway, after that we'll ask Miss Mitchie the question, because she probably because honestly, with stories that switch between characters, it's like
yeah, this is exactly how we acted in fucking high school.
They just made his real life into his character.
Hey Mitchie.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you write a story that switches between characters?
Okay, so there's multiple ways to do that, but a really good way. One of the best ways that I've found, this doesn't work for mine personally, but one of the best ones I saw, hold on, I gotta get back to the stream so I can see the chat, was that in, there's this vampire series on Amazon Kindle that's a really good vampire series, but holy shit, the writer kind of got a little ahead of themselves, so there's 15 books in the series now, and I had to stop, because I'm like, okay, your story was done. You need to stop. But how it was written...
time to stop!
No, it was, because, they had a really good plot, and it made a lot of sense, and it was basically, okay, in this world, it's vampires, werewolves, and witches, basic bitch supernatural stuff, you know? They didn't go super hardcore, so it made more sense, and it was more condensed. But then they decided to bring everything else into it, and alternate dimensions, and a fantasy dimension, and then they went back in time at one point, and I'm like, I need to stop. But anyway, so the first 7 books are great. But how it was written was they're all first person, every point of view. But it would flow into a narrative. So by that, you'd be reading something from a character, the main character, which was a chick, and then it would go okay, this conversation we're having right now. So it would literally be I would finish my sentence, and then it would be, boom, now we're in Zodiac's point of view after me finishing my sentence, and we're still going on with the narrative, but now we're at Zodiac's point of view from it. And we're not going back. It's a flowing, constant thing, but it's now you're seeing how so-and-so's talking about it, what so-and-so's thinking about, and what they're doing and junk like that. But for mine, like I said, it's 2 completely different characters and 2 completely different points of time, but they're parallels, and they do end up being very important to each other later on at the end of the books. I can't say too much without spoiling it, but there are really good ways to write it from certain characters' points of view. Okay, another really good example is Game of Thrones, because a lot of people would shit on the fact that in the show they were like, oh, all these points of view are happening, all this is going on. And it's well, that's because that's what's happening to these people right now in a different part of the world. And the reason for it is because all these characters are finally converging now. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're here. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. No one was talking, so I'm like, oh shit, I'm talking to myself. So
I was zoning out.
Someone asked, how do you attract an audience? I want to make a comic, but I don't know if anyone would read it. well, my advice to you is just post it.
Yeah, my advice is you shouldn't be making it for other people. You should be making it for you.
Okay. I can so tell you, if you write a comic or write a story just with the intention that other people will read it, you're gonna not enjoy it, and you're not gonna want to keep up with it and just not have a good time, because honestly, it's just sometimes you just don't, like, you're not gonna always get stuff. And like, also, I should know because what?
Fuck no, Cody sent me a video.
Oh no.
And it's this guy trying to pull out his radar dish with his truck, and so he pulls it, but instead of it pulling the fucking pole out, the fucking dish smacks back and breaks his car window. It's on Instagram. I don't know how to show you guys because it's like in a story, but it was just sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just saw that. It was so fucking funny.
So and because I just know this because I've uploaded pages and stuff before. Sometimes like you'll get feedback on one page that's significantly less like than another page, you know? So like just don't ever write a story because you want other people to read it. It's always nice, and there are ways to get it out there, but that shouldn't be your focus, you know? Let just having fun writing your story
fans shouldn't be the goal.
Mm-hmm. And also, fans shouldn't be your priority. Because that is what ruins a lot of stories, is when you care more about the fans than you do about making a good story.
Like, that's something I said in mine. It's like, yes, everything we create, we do want people to see, but you should be creating it because it's something you want to make, not because you want someone to see it. By that, like, when I work really hard on a picture and I really, really like it, I do want people to see it. But I didn't make it for people to see it. I was going to make the picture anyway, but now I'm proud of it and I want to share it.
Yeah. Which, like,
you know what I mean?
And because I know I do, and it's always very nice. Like, no one can deny, like, people being invested in enjoying it and having feedback is very nice. It really is. But at the end of the day, you can't be focused on it. Because I always go back to, like, this analogy. It's like, if you write a whole book just to get popular and you post it and it doesn't get popular, what was the point? It's like you just wasted your time. But if you write a book and you enjoy writing that book and it was fun to the end and then it doesn't get attention, well, you know what? At least you had fun doing it, you know? And you made something you could be proud of. So it's just, you know, but that's kind of how I feel on that subject, you know?
You're getting the sleepy, Sam?
Well, it's 1 a.m.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. for me, but I'm not tired because
it's only 11.
I haven't even been up for 12 hours.
That was my first yawn for the night.
So are you gonna try to do what I told you to, Zodiac?
I might.
It sucks, but it works.
I'm gonna have to.
How do you make endings?
I have to stay. That can be hard because, like, for me, this is kind of weird. I actually thought of the ending for Mark 1st. like when I changed it, because originally completely different story that was very trashy and bad. So when I actually reworked it and everything, the idea came for me at I told Zodiac about the ending, and so that came to me, and it really inspired me, and so I had to backtrack from the ending. But I think it's okay to bounce around and do things like that. And yay, you're gonna draw my Eggy boy.
I love him. I'd be happy
to.
I
do too. He a good boy. I just gotta find him an outfit because I want him in clothes. Because Callie has clothes. But I mean, 50 Shades was a self-indulgent fanfic that got 4 movies, right? Yeah, that's exactly it. And it was written on a BlackBerry, not even an iPhone. It was written on a BlackBerry. How do I create an Illuminati conspiracy thing? Well, since I have one of those...
Yeah, please continue.
Research. I know that sounds really dumb, because, okay, when you want to have a secret organization of bad people, cough, you need to... First of all, you need to have a reason for it. And there actually is a big reason for mine. And oh, but that's spoiling this. So it pretty much started because a long time ago, back in Samantha and Zephyr's time, which is like way before my current mages, Sam's story is basically my world's version of Beauty and the Beast. So like it's told as a fairy tale, but what really happened wasn't really like what happens in the fairy tale that people tell their kids. But it pretty much happened to where one of her protectors fell in love with her, but she picked the monster. And so because he was scorned and saw that this holy being chose a demonic one over him, he decided to make it like his life and his family's mission to destroy mages.
Aww.
And so it stemmed from one scorned asshole that trickled down into an ideology. So the ideology of that organization / cult now isn't like when it was first made. It was that they were like, there's something not right here and no one else is seeing it. One being shouldn't have this much power. Because as I've said in my bios, only the 7 mages can use magic. Like, I had to do a lot of research. So all of my dragons, they don't use magic. All of their stuff is genetic. Same with the Fae. Like, there is the only way to get magic is if you sell your soul to a demon, or if you're born a mage. And they're like, this is not right here. Why aren't more people realizing it's not right? And then the war happens, which helps this cult out be like, see, we told you. And now you're going to come to us for help, kind of thing. So that's why when you're doing stuff like that, you need to have their ideology mix. To have an evil character, there has to be a reason for them being evil. So it's, I am evil MacGuffin, and I'm going to do evil stuff like punt a baby because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
The evil MacGuffin.
Is I guess what I'm trying to say here. So when you're making an evil organization, there has to be a reason for people to join it. There has to be a reason for people to do it, or for people to be tricked into doing it. Like what happens in a lot of cults, like in real life cults in our day and age, is it's usually run by a very charismatic person that goes to broken people.
A smooth talking man who can worm his way into your life.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like when you do stuff like that, I mean, hell, the whole Jonestown thing happened because he had everyone under his thumb and the government was finally catching up. And so he's like, you know what? I don't want to go to jail, so we're all just going to die.
And they were like, okay.
Yeah, they were like, yes, my messiah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not a good thing. It's just like you have to do your research to make it realistic. And you have to make it too, like, you know, like when you see those things of people who are like, I escaped a cult and stuff, where a lot of people are like, oh, well, you were weak, you should have left earlier, this guy was raping your children, and it's like, some of these people didn't, like, that's the life they grew up in. They didn't
to go.
Yeah, they don't, especially for people living that lifestyle, like, if, like, you grew up in that, like, cult, you don't know what it's like to be normal. You don't know what it's like on the outside. And so then it's like, another really good example of this that's played up for laughs is, like, the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix.
Yeah. She was trapped in there with, like, 7 other girls?
Yeah, she was a mole woman.
She was a mole woman.
And then, like, in the first episode, they're giving all this money for their damages because she's too nice. Because,
she doesn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, because wasn't she kidnapped at, like, 7 or something? Like, she was a kid.
She was kidnapped at a very young age, and she was a mole.
Yeah. How do I start my own illegal underground dogfighting community? That's against the law.
It's illegal.
It was with 3 other girls. Okay, but whatever. Still.
How do you quickly build reader attachment to certain characters you want to kill off sooner than others? Okay. Easiest way, make them funny. Mm-hmm. That is always the easiest way to get someone attached to a character.
Now I'm sad.
Why?
I remembered Fred and George.
You remembered Fred and George. I was thinking too.
Were you thinking that too? I'm like, now I'm sad.
Humor.
Now I'm sad.
It's like, it's both humor and also another good way, depending on what kind of character you're going for, is if you make them very, very, like, lovable team mascot-y.
My My precious.
Yeah, like, for example, like if all the other characters around them like fight and are really confrontational, then you make.
We did not speak of Fred and George.
And then you make like.
Because they're
and then you make one character who's like super like, guys, let's just all be friends. And just like make them really pure. That's also a really good way to do that.
See, now I'm not okay.
Why?
So I know a certain character of yours that's like that, and I'm like, they better not fucking die.
They're not. They probably aren't if you're thinking of who I'm thinking of.
They better not. I mean, I know they can't, but still.
Okay, non-canon, that's definitely... I would never do that. I couldn't.
Right.
But yeah, so those are my tips.
I mean, there's also Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist. That's death that just left everybody.
Don't bring that up. I'm still salty.
Everyone's still salty.
I'm salty that we have to watch it 4 times.
Humor is the best way to win a heart. You are correct. But now I'm sad.
We have to watch his death 4 times and 1 in live action.
Oh, did you watch the live action one? I heard the live action.
No, but I know
ass.
he does it. They do it again. I know they do it again. I saw the screenshot.
How do I make a webpage for hating spiders? Well, if you click on this amazing link in the description below, there's this amazing website called Screenshare. I swear to God, I've seen like 9 YouTubers like be all promoted. Squarespace, that was it, not Screenshare.
Oh my God.
It's because Squarespace is just shelling out that money. Just talk about our shit. Squarespace is actually really good if you want to make a website.
Oh no, I know it's really good. I'm not shitting on it. I just think it's funny because I see it. It's like how Audible used to be the pimp of YouTube. It was like, I have an Audible link.
Now Squarespace.
Now it's Squarespace. Oh no, it was Audible, and then it was Loot Crate. And now it's Squarespace.
Oh, fuck Loot Crate, man.
I used to love Loot Crate, and then when they started making the crates, their quality.
No, you wanna know why I'm Crate?
Why are you salty about Loot Crate?
Because I swore to God, I canceled my subscription, and then, like, a few days ago, they were like, we're gonna charge your card.
No, bitch.
So my card got overdrafted.
Oh no!
And my mom had to take money from the savings. Didn't.
Shit, that sucks, man.
So, fuck you, Loot Crate. I'm never gonna get you again. Don't overdraft my shit. I swore I hit cancel. I swore I hit cancel.
It's okay, that happened to me with my Owl Crate. Like, I loved Owl Crate, but I was starting to get, like, 3 books in a row that were just not my style.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'll cancel. And they're like, okay. And then they recharged me again. And I was like, well, fuck. And then when it came time to recharge me again, I'm like, no, cancel me. And they were like, okay. And they canceled me. And I'm like, well, good.
Apparently, Sirius XM.
Someone asked, how do you tell a story that spans across multiple historical eras? For example, from modern day to the founding of Jamestown in the late 16th century.
Is time travel involved?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Because if time travel isn't involved, I have no idea how you're supposed to do that.
I mean, unless you're supposed to be saying, like, someone's living through all those time eras.
How would you go modern day to Jamestown?
I don't know. I mean, I guess unless you're trying to write something... Ooh, I guess that would be an idea. If you're trying to write something where it's like the past affected the future, so it's like it's jumping back and forth to almost show parts when that happens.
Oh man, I'm getting reminded of the cursed child again. Because that's what happens.
Like an immortal character. Yeah. Okay. Like if it's so long as it's like in chronological order, that'd be very interesting. Like you just have to write them like how they like get into these other time eras and stuff like that. You know, like how they adjust to it, like what do they do? Because obviously if you live forever, some things are going to be very interesting, you know, like for example, like whenever it gets into the era where people have like more documentation on them and stuff like that, you know, that's stuff to think about. And like how they adjust to things. And plus also, naturally, when people get older, they get very more stuck in their ways and they often can get very stubborn. So it depends on the kind of character. But yeah, you could totally do that with like transitioning in different times.
In Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there are 2 characters. It's Angel and Spike, both vampires.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
It bounces back and forth from their from them in Britain being evil to them now. You could do that.
Also, a funny character trope with time traveler old as shit characters that a friend of mine pointed out that made me mad, but it's true, is usually if you have an ancient old character, they go one of 2 ways. They become a giant hoe who doesn't care, or they become super celibate.
Yep.
There's usually no in between.
Yep.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Angel just became, I'm never gonna kill anybody again. Spike's like, I'm gonna party it up, who cares?
Right?
There's literally, if they're eternal, there's only 2 ways they can go. Party it up or be a monk.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I have a character who's, like I said, she's very old and very blunt and is just like, oh, well, we can have sexual intercourse if you want. Wait, what? Yeah, I mean, if you want, we can. I don't have any urges. I can still enjoy it.
I can tell it's very clear you find me hot. You know,
I'll enjoy it, but it's not like I want to do it immediately.
Yeah. And it's like, why are we talking about this?
Why would you make this decision on me?
Because you're thinking about it, and we're friends.
How do you deal with people who rip off your story?
Oh,
if it's for monetary value, you can sue without wasting any money.
Yep. I mean, I have sometimes you can't always avoid it or necessarily stop it.
By that, what I think Zodiac means is nothing is 100% original anymore.
Yeah.
But you can tell when your stuff's being ripped off. Like, a friend of mine sent me...
I know a thing once that I saw that was like...
Someone ripped off one of my characters.
It was hilarious.
Like, oh my god, it was so funny.
It was really funny.
They copied the reference picture. Like, they didn't even try. It's like, what did you do? And I'm like, fucking nothing. It's fucking funny.
Yeah, and like, there's a very big difference between, like, someone ripping off your story for monetary gain and, like, very blatantly ripping off. Because my thing is, it always does bug me whenever somebody will say, like, your character looks just as, like, they'll have a character that honestly won't be super totally, like, original in design, and they'll see something, like, for example, like, they'll just be like, some random human kid with brown hair and a hoodie, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, someone else will have a character like that, and they'll be like, you're ripping off my character and my story, when it really isn't, you know? And it does happen. Mitchie and I are living proof.
I know. It happens all the time.
You can make characters that are exactly the same and never have spoken to each other. Yeah. But like... Or like another thing too is like, I get a lot of people who compare Ringmaster to the Onceler, like all the fucking time. Oh my God. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, you know, I made him before the Onceler happened. And his design, I love Ringmaster's design, but it's not that unique. Yeah. And like the
thing is, a bad thing, but...
There's one thing about like someone ripping off your stuff like very blatantly for monetary gain. Mm-hmm. And then there's also a difference between a kid being really inspired and looking up to you and then kind of just taking that kind of because they're really inspired. Because I know that there was... God, I remember this because I wanted to actually make a video about it, but I ended up deciding not to because I knew it would be very emotionally driven. And it was when I kind of accepted, you know what? They're not making money. They're a kid. They made it clear that they were very inspired by my shit. I'm just going to kind of let this slide for now, you know? It was a person who made a character that was like so much like Infinity, like there was no way you could tell me that it wasn't. And they told me they were inspired by my characters, although it kind of made me laugh that they said that because it's like characters, aka just Infinity. And her species. Like, you just looked at, like, they had this, like, a similar cape. They had a similar outfit. They both had the hair with the bangs going in the same way. The only difference was their hair was more pink than yellow. They had, like, space powers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They had, like, a symbol on their shirt. It was just... And then if you looked at the bio, they literally, like, copy-pasted her bio and then changed certain things to, like, make him a dude and then, like... change the name, and then there were some lines that were direct copies, like actual plagiarism.
Yeah. Well, like, I actually have a story that's really bad here. So
oh boy.
That has to do with this. This wasn't me, this was a friend of mine. So I have this friend who will not be named. And they had this story. This was years ago. This was back in... I was still in high school. So this was 2010, 2011. I remember I was like either getting out of high school or like almost out of high school. So I had this friend who we were not that popular on DA or anything. So honestly, like my stuff blew up because of YouTube. So this was back when I think neither of us even had 300 subs or deviations. Or not deviations, deviants, whatever.
Watchers.
So, yeah, watchers, that was it. So my friend has dyslexia, like me, and they had this story that was very dear to them, very, very, very important. And there was this person that became a friend of both of ours, because at the time we also had Crackland. So we were actually, our Crackland though was a little different than what Zodiac and I have. Ours was actually, because we were both like fleshing out our stories and our characters, because that is a really good thing. To, like, get a character is to, like, roleplay as that character to help understand them more.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know? And so, that's what we did a lot of time with our Crackland stuff, was we were mostly working through things. Like, Marked was... Actually, it's because of my friend that Naya was even born. So that's like, really important. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of what was happening, we were doing together, and we were drawing stuff for it, we were dicking around, we were having fun. And this person really, really liked our Crackland shit. And so, what they would do... is they would write, they wrote a fan fiction of a next gen situation of our characters. So by that, it would be like, if Zodiac's and Mines and our stupid Crackland thing, if those kids were having kids, it was that generation.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was actually really well written. We were both very excited. We both really liked it. And then so my friend got a hold of this guy, and the guy was like, "Hey, well, I'm an aspiring writer. Why don't I help you out? People do that." And so my buddy was like, "Hey, Michelle, you know, why don't I let them help me out here? Because that happens, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, people do that all the time." And so things were going great, but then, so pretty much my friend told this person everything about their story, everything. Like literally everything she had, okay? And so what happened was this person then was working on it, okay? But then they started changing shit without asking my friend and started posting up snippets about it. And we were like, this isn't what it's like. Like, I didn't even know everything. But like from what I knew, I'm like, that's not right. A perfect example of this is I would say like, okay, Zodiac, it would be like if greed and sloth 5,000 years ago created countries.
Oh god.
Like they were reincarnated into their sloth and greed form now, but back in the day they were these like great epic warriors that created the foundation of the world.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Like shit like that was going on. And so we were like, okay, what's this? And he was like, and the guy was like, oh, well, we're just gonna change things. We're gonna change things. No? And then it's like, and then my friend was like, that's not how it worked. I had this all written out. You just said you'd write it. And he's like, oh, okay, well then, my friend had this one character that was the main character that was very, very important to them on how their personality was, because their personality has a reason for it. And the writer guy drastically changed it to fit his narrative. Okay? And then he started inventing all of these new characters that neither of us had met about. And he pretty much completely bastardized my friend's work.
Aww.
And my friend was really upset about it. Really, really upset about it. And she kept asking the writer to stop and change the shit. And then the person pretty much told my friend, well, I've already gotten this much work in, I'm making it published.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my friend, so I kid you not, we actually had to get legal matters, and me and my friend and two of our other friends, because we actually had side characters that this person threw in. And by that, I didn't ask, but he threw in Tetsu and Ten and Naya into that story.
Oof.
And I'm like, I remember reading it and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, well, in your Crackland stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's just dicking around.
That's just messing around. That's not
Like,
supposed to be the serious thing.
That's
so, but it was bad. And then they also took another one of my friends who actually has a big following and has been published, and put one of her characters in it without asking. And, like, described the character down to a T, and then just kind of threw them into this universe. And we're sitting here like, you can't do this. And the writer was pretty much like, boy, stop me. So we had to rush and get our shit copyrighted before this thing could come out, so he couldn't publish it.
Wow.
And then when he tried to publish it and he realized he couldn't, he tried suing me and my friends. Now keep in mind, I am in fucking high school at this point.
Oh my god.
And it didn't go anywhere. Because before my lawyer friend was like, this isn't even gonna go to court. You have the copyright. Like, it's not even gonna go to court.
What a baby.
Oh no, but it gets worse, and this is why I get fucking triggered when everyone brings this up, because after everything that happened, this person came to us and said, it's not my fault I have Asperger's. I didn't understand.
Are you fucking serious?
Oh yeah, and so that's why I tell people when I hear, like, I went through all this shit. My friend had to literally go to therapy because she thought that something she worked so hard on was literally getting stolen away from her. And this guy has the nerve to be like, it's not my fault, I have Asperger's.
Oh my god.
And so that's why I lose it.
I
lose it when people use that as an excuse. Because there are people like that out there who literally think they can do anything the fuck they want because of a reason. How do you copyright? It's actually really easy. You go down to your courthouse, spend $25, get the name and the characters copyrighted, and then boom, it's yours.
God. That's crazy.
I love the excuse of, I know I'm a bitch, but I'm a Scorpio.
That's
basically some people do that.
Oh my god.
It's like, that's what I think of when he said you can't blame me. I have Asperger's. It's basically saying, I know I'm a bitch, but I'm a Scorpio.
God.
Oh my god, though, it was so funny, the shit that they turned Tetsu and my characters into. I was dying.
Oh god.
First of all, she wasn't a mage anymore, so that pissed me.
Oh, lovely.
Second of all...
Just the most important thing, you know.
Second of all, she was a princess? Which confused the fuck out of me. I'm like, her parents were always innkeepers and lower class? Like,
oof.
Yeah. So basically you just kept the name and the look and then changed everything else?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a Scorpio, I can't help it.
No, Megan, you're just a bitch.
Megan, you're just a bitch.
No, Megan, you're just a bitch.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
But needless to say, we're no longer friends with that person. But anyway.
Well, no shit.
But that's why it's like, you have to be very careful with who you trust and stuff like that, because shit like that could happen.
Yeah. That's why you gotta sometimes be choosy.
Yeah. What an ass crack. I have a similar story with a guy who was actually on TV. He lives close by and was on Tosh.0. What? Like you stole someone's work? You can't do that. I'm a Pisces.
Exactly.
It's okay. He just do cocaine, but he a good boy.
No, okay, I saw a joke like this earlier. I'm sorry I'm a bitch. I'm a Scorpio. Well, I'm a Libra. I don't care.
Oh my god.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, that's why when people use mental illness as an excuse, I get fucking mad.
Yeah.
I'll fight.
But that's just it. Like that's why I always tell people, I'm like, unless someone's literally doing it for monetary value, because this person was in their 20s. Okay, that's just they were not a kid.
They were an adult. They knew what the fuck they were doing.
They knew better.
Yeah.
I just love that they got butthurt once they figured out that you had the copyright.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I was just like, ha, you asshole.
Yeah.
You can't fucking do this.
Someone asked,
oh yeah.
should you be afraid of politics when writing a story? Like, in the story I described earlier, the character ended up fighting for the Confederates in the American Civil War.
Fuck no, my story's pretty much Nazis.
Yeah. Honestly,
mine's like a medieval World War II.
I think that people really should not be afraid. Now, I should warn you, if you're ever going to tackle anything political ever, you're going to make some people mad, but you gotta just...
You're gonna have some enemies.
Try to write it and portray it correctly, and just know that, like, what you're getting into. But you should not be afraid to, okay?
Yeah, because...
Just don't...
a lot of studying.
Just kind of make sure you accept the fact that you're not going to impress everyone.
Well, like, okay, funny story on that, right? So, a friend of mine, I read this story once that a shit ton of people were shitting on back in high school. Because it took place in Nazi Germany, but it was the point of view of a family that was forced into Nazism, because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of Germany didn't want to be a part of the war, they were forced to. But people were like, no, he's a Nazi, he's evil. And it's like, not all of them did what they did because that's what they believed in. A lot of them had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like how when, what was it? Cody's, one of Cody's dads is a history teacher. He was telling me how there were people who were Germans who were born in America who didn't know what was going on. So they went to fight for their country and then realized, oh shit, now I'm a Nazi and they can't come home.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of shit like that happens. Again, I'm not saying being a Nazi is a good thing. That's not what I'm saying. But it's not all black and white. Yes, there were evil fuckers out there, but not everyone was. Like, a good portrayal of that is not Saving Private Ryan. Was it Band of Brothers? It was a TV show. I think it was Band of Brothers. Where they showed some really realistic, like, portrayals of the era. Like, another good one that was very heavy in politics. That's a show I watched recently was Mad Men. Because it takes place in, like, late 50s, early 60s America, where they're trying to run an ad firm, and so they have to deal with the Equal Pay Act. They have to deal with, you know, African American people getting jobs now, and like how racist and sexist that environment was, and how much of the double standard it was. But they don't glorify it, but they show it how it was, which is why I really like it, because they show how sometimes the nuclear family doesn't work out, but people were doing it anyway, because there was this whole scene where this one mom finds that the husband was cheating on her, like, constantly, and the doctor and her therapist both told her, like, well, until you can prove he's cheating, you can't divorce him.
Yep.
Because back in those days, that was the only way to get divorced. You had to prove infidelity.
Yeah.
You wanna know what I love hearing?
What?
In those, this is where me and my mom heard it. We heard it in Mad Men.
Mm-hmm.
When
I was talking about Mad Men.
Yeah. The girl is arguing with the guy and like bringing up all these points, and I love it when the guy goes, "You're just acting crazy."
Yes, I laughed so hard at that point.
You're just acting crazy. She's telling him to get out of the fucking house. Go away. And he's like, you're just acting crazy.
He's like, just calm down. It's like,
calm down. You're acting crazy. And it's like, I'm gonna punch you in the dick.
I mean, that is...
Oh my god.
That is one thing that... Sorry.
But
no, you can finish.
What I was saying was the double standards of that show was so true. It's like, The main dude cheats on his wife, like, fuck, 6-7 times every season. The second she starts feeling for another guy, doesn't sleep with him, doesn't go on a date with him,
She's just like, I kinda like him.
Yeah, she's like, I kind of like him, and she wants a divorce because she finds all this shit out about her husband and shit. And he's like, you fucking slut. And I'm like, oh, you,
All right.
What the fuck? Pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, like, that's one thing that really irritates me, though, whenever, like, someone puts something, like, darker or, like, negative in their story that they don't agree with, but everyone thinks, oh, well, you must agree and support this because you wrote it into your story.
Oh my god.
I hate that so much.
That happened to me with Mad Men. That happened to me. No. So, an ex-friend of mine on Facebook, I think I told you guys this story.
Oh, no,
they made a post about how sexist and racist and problematic Mad Men was the show, and I'm like, that was kind of the point. It was made in the late 50s and early 60s, and they were like, so you support it? And I was like,
no.
I was like, the fuck?
God.
Just because
like,
I felt
something? I felt like that white monster meme that's just like, what? how did you get from there to there?
Just because you write about something doesn't mean you support it. It
right?
means you're trying to bring attention to it.
And it's funny because it's only with certain things. If you write like if you write in like certain things, you'll get called that. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, if you write in a character who happens to be sexist or something like that, well, you must be sexist. But if you write in someone who murders people, just kind of nonchalant, like just in the background, like we don't address it, you're not a murderer. That's just the character.
Exactly. Okay, what was it? A good example of a problematic author over like a normal one is in the Ender's Game books. They're really good books, but at a certain point, you can tell because these books were written a long ass time ago. You can kind of see the ideologies popping out because there's a certain character that's like, I don't want to say openly gay, but he's gay, and his life isn't complete and happy when he just decides to be straight and have a family. And it's like, I know this was written in like the 50s, but that hurt.
Yeah.
like you're literally reading about space aliens and fighting in a war, and then it's like, oh, I was only happy when I procreated with a woman.
Oh.
It's like, see, that there's an issue there. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's
like,
yeah.
Like, another good example is Harry Potter. A lot of people didn't like the epilogue because it's like, oh, all of the characters were only happy at the end when they had kids and had families.
No.
And I know why, but a lot of people latched on to that. Was like, so you're saying they could only be happy when they were married and had kids and families? And I'm like, no, but they got to have a normal life. That's what they wanted. That's what they fought for.
They fought to leave this horrible way of living in fear of Voldemort.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Someone said, I don't like the trend where all gay people are saints even when they do bad things. I don't either.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Remember I told you about that one movie?
Yeah.
The bisexual boy just cheats
No,
on
we don't talk. No, we don't talk about camp, okay?
We have to. I have to talk about it. It's relevant to what they said.
I know, but just go on. It's so bad.
God,
The boy goes to the camp and they're like, oh my god, an honest to god straight boy. And then they treat him shittily because he's straight and everyone at that camp's supposed to be like gay. And then you find out that he's bisexual and he has a girlfriend, but he's also kind of hitting on the boy at the camp. And it's like, what's going on? And he's just like, I don't mean to. I just like to have fun.
It's
like,
it always really irritates me whenever like people try to make something a minority or something like that, and that immediately makes them a good guy. And if you dare make a bad character a minority, then you must be demonizing that thing.
Oh my god, okay, so you've heard, then you must have heard about the stuff going on around Black Panther, right?
Oh yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
People
Have
are
I?
going around saying Killmonger was right.
Oh my god.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, did we not watch the same movie?
Oh my god.
I also liked that his outfit was inspired by Vegeta.
Was it really?
Did you not
Oh,
see
now
that?
I'm imagining. I can see it
I'm
now.
not a Dragon Ball Z fan, so I never would have noticed.
Oh, I can see it now.
Oh my god.
Here, I'll get it.
But, like, another trope that I hate, but somehow found its way into Crackland is somehow we ended up with a love triangle.
It's a better love triangle than most.
I know, but I still don't like it. It makes sense because all the characters are adults. I think that's the issue here. Is it's like almost all love triangles in books. And that's why a lot of people were saying like 50 Shades didn't work out. Was they were like, these are adults
Here.
acting like teenagers.
Here,
They're not acting like adults.
I like that one part. Just very random side note. I love it. Anyway, so
I
love it. I love it. You're perfect. But I love whenever that one thing was happening. You know the thing, Mitchie. And we were just like, why can't you be petty and salty about this? Why must you be mature adults?
Why can't you two just fight like normal people?
Oh yeah, I know this.
This wouldn't hurt so much if you were just friendly. Or if you weren't mature adults.
You talked about this yesterday, the love triangle.
I did. That was off. That one was off screen.
I must have missed that one.
No, that one was off camera.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I think that one was off.
Yeah, that one was afterwards when I was just rambling and you were half asleep, and you weren't there to stop me.
It would just fix everything. Just be petty assholes for once.
Why can't you act like teenagers?
Because they're all like in their 30s and they're all like adults.
I know, they're just they're mature adults.
And now some issues happen, so two of them are kind of awkward. Like, shit, great.
Oh, goodness.
Like, a thing on that, though. Like, not on love triangles, but, like, okay, so something that I think is important, because, like, I have a lot of different cultures, so I had to look up a lot of different things, and so when you're writing something, when you want to do things like that, again, it kind of goes back to social norms and shit. So, like, a good example of this is, like, with some of my mages, a lot of them were from very traditional families. Like, you know, you have an arranged marriage, you pop out as many as you can, if you can have kids, cough. And then, you know, you stick with one person until one of you dies or you both die. That's kind of how it goes. But there's other characters who, like, from the cultures they were raised in, they just don't care because that's how they are. Like, in one of the Fae groups that technically Kai's beautiful daughter is from, I based them off of the types of monkeys that take, like, 2 male mates and then 1 female. Because I was like, I think it's really cute because twins run in those genetics, like, all the time, and that's why there's usually 2 males for 1 female. So that way they're like and a male could have 2 females, but then it's like 4 kids, and so it's harder to take care of the babies. And so in her culture, women rule while men are just, they're there. They still do things, but, like, it's more of an equal ground, and they also even have a thing where they don't care about blood over bond. So it's like, okay, your mate could have slept with someone else, but that's still your kid, and they're fine with it because that's how their culture is. In our culture, a lot of people wouldn't be okay with that.
Cough.
But that's how all of them are raised, so it's normal for them. So they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter the blood. It's what?
Cough.
No, it's just funny because we brought up Kai.
What the fuck?
Oh,
yeah! Sad! God damn it, Zodiac!
Because we brought up Kai.
Why'd you have to make me sad?
I'm sorry, I just thought of it. I'm like, why is that so ironically perfect? And no one understands why.
You're laughing about it. That's the worst part.
I'm laughing at the irony of the fact that I did it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me happy.
I'm gonna get up for a second. I'm gonna get some water.
Go ahead.
I'll be back.
Now we can talk about Crackland as much as we want. Oh no. No, I was laughing at the irony.
I know.
Well, my poor baby.
It's okay.
I don't like that I
Oh
did
my
it to
God.
him, but it had to happen.
Oh, I just thought of a really funny thing I want to happen.
Oh no.
So you know how I talked about how Kai and character really, really the same. So
Okay.
I was thinking, I wonder what would happen if somehow they switched bodies, so my character
Oh,
had his
no.
powers and everything. And so, because he would still be normal, but I can do the same thing where it's like, he would break a vase or something, and then everyone's just like, either extremely angry or extremely depressed. They just look at him, they're like, oh my god, you need to talk to somebody? Why?
Oh no.
It's like, what was it? It's like that, have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
It's like that really sad moment when Mantis just touches the guy and she just breaks down and cries and he's just there all fine. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I see it.
That's how Kai's powers work.
Yeah, and poor Kai is just like, oh, I am in a lot of pain, but it's okay. I'm gonna smile. Don't smile in his body. It's really fucking weird.
Oh no. That's
how
gonna be
do I
very
not-
hard.
I know.
My poor boy likes smiling.
Oh my god, but it's just suddenly I'm tall. I'm tall and everything hurts.
I don't like it.
Oh
I
my
like
God.
being small and huggable. Oh no.
I'm taller than Dilly. This isn't okay. Oh shit. Oh well, I said Dilly. I should be fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm taller than all of my friends. I don't
We need
like
to
it.
change. We need to change back. No sleepy time. No, we wake up and fix this. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Hold on, I'm finally reading the reply because I didn't see you sent it. Well, hey, if you stay up all night, I can stay up with you at least because apparently I gotta take Cody to the airport at 6 in the morning. I just found that out.
Oh,
Lucky
exciting.
me.
Hooray.
I don't feel bad though. He has to do it for work, but still, I'm like cry.
Yeah, just no one knows what we're talking about. It's fine.
I know.
I made a joke before that like that someday just you and I are just gonna have to get in a stream and just talk about Crackland.
Just
Just get it all out of our system.
Just like, oh my god, then this happened, and then this happened.
I know, it's like and then Sam like made the suggestion, you should just read out your entire just the entire thing.
Mine didn't write much about politics. The fuck?
What?
Did none of them write to the other? They were supposed to leave them letters? That's cute. Oh, you never cared to read them. What the fuck? Hold on. No, I'm trying to reply. Emojis, go away.
They wrote, just so you know, no one else is knowing what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But, they wrote, technically they had, quote, diaries that they wrote.
No! Are you serious?
Oh, no.
Are you serious?
Oh, no.
You're kidding, right?
Is this another thing?
Kind of. Not with the mages, but with, like, with 10 and his group, they have to, like, catalog everything since they're all so fucking old.
Okay,
So that the newer generations can read it and learn from it.
It was more, okay, for them it was more of a willing choice.
Oh, okay.
They agreed on it because they're just like, let's just do this to help the other ones when that happens. And then, for reasons, humility doesn't have any.
Well, it's humble.
Well, there's other reasons.
There's other reasons. So you can't say stuff like that because I want to know, but you can't talk about it.
Well, no, I told you that one time. I just had a very, very sudden epiphany that I had just a perfect thing for the previous one, and I figured out I could make, and I found out how I could make it make sense, and I was like, oh shit.
No, you never told me this.
I didn't know. I thought I said something because mentioned I was thinking about the old ones.
All you said was that like abilities didn't even have a statue or anything on her past one.
Oh well,
that's all you ever mentioned.
And there's a reason, and I found a way to make it make sense and everything. It's I revised her backstory a little bit to work with that too. So it's like, you'll find out. I also realized I might have low key just said something that I wasn't supposed to, but you know what? It's fine. No one's gonna know. No one watches these streams.
Right? Or when they do, it'll be like, who the fuck is that?
It's fine.
By the time they show up.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll find out eventually. either it will be well, probably it might have to be just in the future, just way in the future, because I don't think this can be avoided now. At some point, they need to just show up.
Well, I mean, we brought everyone else back at this fucking point.
I know. Well, I don't know if I want to do it now or if I just want to wait till.
No,
Jesus.
I think we should wait because we've got too many things going on.
I know, exactly. That's why I was just like, you know what? We'll just wait till.
I'm thinking what we should do is when Gabe actually becomes 5.
That's what I was thinking.
Because we already talked about how he was going to bring a certain character back, so
give it 5
maybe
years.
Maybe it's like them. He could be like, okay, I'll try these other too.
Well, it's like I just picture it like with anything else. Like he finds one of the rooms with the statues. Like I want this.
I want this.
No, especially because he finds the one for his mom. So it'd be like, I want to meet
for his who?
For his mom. The previous for his mom.
Hello?
With the previous whose mom?
Whose mom?
He finds the statues. More specifically, the one of the previous person for his mom. Fuck it, I'll just type it out. God dang it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to follow along. I'm just confused.
Hang on.
Oh! Okay!
That
makes more sense. I was super confused.
Okay, anyway.
Really? That's so cute. Are you serious?
That's what I imagine. I imagine he finds it. He's like, I want to meet them now.
That's so cute. I'm gonna cry. You need to tell Sam now.
Oh no.
Or
Okay.
text it, type it to them, because that's your stuff. That's cute.
No, I just think it'd be cute. It's just like, I want to meet them now.
I know, I do too.
It's my past
My still past mages are still fucking up, and they're just trying. Like,
I know, I feel so bad for them.
Everything we do is to help people, and it's just blowing up in our face. What the fuck? Yeah, Zodiac's on spring
break, which I realized is shorter than I thought it was. It made me sad.
I watch these streams, Zodiac. People are okay. Salty. You said no one watches the streams.
Well, here, somebody. Let's answer more questions because we talked about Crackland long enough.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll type this up to Sam.
Did you talk about Crackland the whole time I was gone?
Yes.
Maybe.
I went to the bathroom. I fed the lizard. I got water.
We don't want to be rude.
Listen,
I don't mind hearing about it. It's just when it goes on for more than 1 hour, I get
I'm
kind of
sorry.
There's okay. Listen,
I don't know how it had.
This has been happening for 3 to 4 months now.
It's been 4 months now.
It's been fucking 4 months.
Oh, soon we'll be at the 1-year anniversary for it.
God. Maybe by then the mermaid picture will be done and that can be
Oh my god, I forgot I have to do the mermaid picture.
I'm patient. It's fine. Okay, so
I'm sick. Okay, I can barely work now. I haven't done anything today. I've been sleeping. / drinking water / taking showers. It's been my
all
life.
day.
Yeah. No, that's how I get over a cold very quickly. That's literally all I do is I wake up, I take a shower, I drink a shit ton of water, I go back to bed, and then rinse and... And honestly, I would have kept doing that, but then I found I have to go to the... So I'm like, well, shit, I have to stay up now, so...
I don't get sick often anymore.
I didn't used to, and now I've been getting sick once a month, and I hate it. Don't know why.
Maybe it's the people you're around.
Probably. So, no, it's not Cody.
Will you draw stream sometime in the future?
I don't know.
I know you were considering that.
Yeah, I hope. Maybe. Eventually. I don't know. Hopefully. Someday. I just read your reply, Mitchie.
Oh, I'm not done yet.
No, I know. I read the please don't curse. There are children around here.
Yeah.
Poor Cassie.
You are a child. I know what curse words are.
The poor child that has to be an adult because she's not as young as the other children.
Someone
know.
said,
Well,
remember when this was a key?
People, I'm sorry,
We
I
were
asked you
asking for
guys.
questions. We were asking for questions. No one was giving us questions that we hadn't already answered.
Someone asked, do you guys have a certain character types that you tend to make for more of? For example, I have these 3 characters, and whenever I'm trying to make a new character, it becomes a clone of one of these 3.
Sweet bean children. Sweet bean children.
I can't name a specific character type that I do, but I definitely can tell you I do that a lot. Like,
yeah.
Across stories. I have these 2 stories that aren't really posted online. Actually, I have 3 now that I think about it. Okay. I have, because of course I'm the ZodiacLord. I have personified zodiacs. They're just not updated and shit. I have characters from the story named Colorful who are also a rainbow team of 7. The only difference is they have indigo instead of pink. And then I have this other story that never got posted that I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to it or not, but I might. That is technically a similar concept of 3 not qualified parents raising a baby. It's a very different context. And technically all 3 of those stories merged together. Like, you could look at those characters and think like, wow, they seem exactly like those Sins.
You basically took three stories and just super glued them together, and you're like, this is good.
Yeah, it's like,
here, let me show you it.
Well, no, it's actually like honestly hilarious. Like, okay, in my story Colorful, there's the main character's name is JoJo. She and Wrath are like almost the same person. The only difference is JoJo's just maybe a little bit less angry.
Go be cute and gay somewhere else.
There is who else? I know that I could list so many things. Gluttony and the other orange character in that story have like the same personality, and the same concept. They're very happy but deadly. They're entirely different stories too, which is funny. Both the Envies or not both the Envies. Envy and the other green character are tall. That's the thing.
They tool.
They tool.
What about the weirdo furry though?
Listen. Wait, I gotta go. I was about to say his name, but I realized I gotta go remind myself how to pronounce it because it's not how I pronounce it.
How's it said?
It is. I'm looking because I looked at all of this up.
Oh, okay.
Because I decided to, and fucking Ginger Queen. Ginger Queen. Yeah. I'll never be able to pronounce her name ever. But hang on, I got this. It's cool. It's like, is it? Hang on. Okay, I gotta look it up. Did I type that wrong, or did I just keep answering questions if there's other questions?
Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Hold on.
How do I make a story work with 2 main characters without one being more?
Do they have the same goal? Like,
are they working towards the same goal?
Yeah, are they in the same room together, or the view? Like, that's a pretty vague question. I'm not being mean. We need to know more about how you want that to work out than just there's 2 main characters, because that could be a lot of stories. What should I put? What website should I post my website?
They deleted it.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Just leave it. Drop it. What are y'all's favorite
Professor Dalton,
are
you still there?
What?
Professor Dalton's been here the whole stream. I think they're there.
Oh, for a webcomic. I know people use Tapastic or Tapis or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Well, it depends.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I know that it depends on the person, because I know there's some people who it's like they'd never post on Tapis. I don't know why. Well, it's because like Tapis
Webtoon's pretty good.
Yeah. I have a friend who
I know a lot of people, when they have a webcomic, they try to have their site for it.
Yeah. Which to me, I'm not against it. It's just like, I've actually tried to read comics on websites, and I can never remember they exist. I constantly forget.
Like, and what's sad is
to start. if you really need.
Yeah, so it's funny because I always have a tendency to pronounce it Zavist. But
I always read it as Zavist.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, it's Zavist, so I was right.
Yeah, you're the right one.
Pronouncing something for it never fucking happens.
No, it's Zavist. I love him though.
Zavist.
I drew him today.
Zodiac was mad. You should show the group the doodle you sent me.
I'll show the group the doodle I sent you.
Because it's not related to anything. It's just him being salty.
I know. I love him.
And I love him. I love him and his weirdo-ness.
Also
I don't need a fursuit because I can just turn into one. Oh, that's gross. Why'd you have to make it gross?
Oh my god. He's such a weirdo.
Also, I read Greed's bio. What the fuck? It's a crop top? I thought it was a one piece. This whole time I thought it was a one piece and the sass was just separating his suit.
Nope.
He has the same face marking as Envy. Did you do that?
Yes.
Yes.
He does.
There's a reason for it.
That?
What?
Or did you do that on purpose?
Yes.
God damn it.
Have I not told you about this?
I thought you would have known about that.
I thought you knew about this.
I didn't know about that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's
Wait,
like the other one I showed you.
Since they didn't know that, why don't you show her the references? Do you have all their references?
Probably somewhere. I'll do it after the stream. You know, honestly, we might as well just end the stream.
I saw Breeds, but I didn't see any of the other ones.
Oh, we're in for an adventure. So I'll just go ahead and end the stream because I think we've kind of divulged off of answering questions. So this was fun, though.
You've been doing it for a while, though.
Yeah, it's been almost 4 hours.
It's been 4 hours?
It's been 3 hours and 40 minutes.
By the YouTube.
Well, shit. Okay, yeah, that's long enough, I think.
Yeah, so this was fun, though. We can do this again sometime.
All right, we love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.
Bye.